Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienated in both the analog and digital world. Welcome, getting multiple dice ball alignments. I am Lunar D8. Oh, I didn't mean to have it on auto. Let's try to pull this up. How do I You have to run. He's really going to first go somewhere. Did you not hear me? I said go somewhere you can look down on Scrabble. Where would that be from? His voice was soft, but incredibly cold. There was a sharpness to it that made it impossible to disobey. What do you want? My legs were shaking and I couldn't move. I wrapped my arms around myself and hugged tightly. Should I do what he said or not? I didn't have it in me to even decide. You're not going to do what I tell you? Okay, it's not like you told me something that could be instantly done at the flip of a switch. Even if I decided instantly, like, okay, I'm going to go someplace and get a good view, I still have to figure out how to do it. It's the equivalent of, like, you threw me a fucking Rubik's Cube and said, solve it, and I'm like... And they're like, why isn't it solved yet? So it's like, okay, one, are you not going to do what I tell you? Dude, you gave me 2 seconds. It's been 2 seconds. I haven't even if I knew exactly where to go, I wouldn't have had time to go there or even start. And even then, even if I do feel, okay, I'm going to instantly, without any, indecisiveness of all, I'm going to go where you tell me to go. Where is that? I don't know where to get a good view. On this building? To the edge? On the ground? I'm not sure. If you don't, I can't guarantee we'll have enough. She's already dead, you know it. So to save her, you'll just die for no reason. The voices in my head are not helping, even though they are cute. Let me hear her voice. I squeaked out the word, but Shogun ignored. There's no reason for me to do that. You should think a little bit more about the situation you're in. I didn't want to think about the chance that Nami was dead. I didn't want to imagine her dead. I felt like if I imagined it, it might really happen. That's actually possible given the way we are. I gave in and moved somewhere where I could look down and scramble. So, the edge of the building, okay. The ground at my feet was dark. It felt like I might trip if I wasn't careful. There was a clear acrylic board on the side of the roof. What are you going to me, like, imagine myself the power to flight? Scramble acting as a wall. It was about 3 stories high. When I got close to the wall, I could hear the chaos below me. There was a female voice that seemed much louder than the others. It was coming from the big TV. There's an open space in the wall. Do you see it? I looked at the wall, wiping away the heavy sweat on my forehead. He was right. There was a hole big enough for a single person to pass through. It was a strange shape, like it had been smashed open. Someone had clearly done it deliberately. Of course, there was nothing on the other side. It was a sheer drop off an 8-story building. Peek out and say hello to the crowd below. Okay. Wave at the people. What did he just said? Do I need to tell you again? You might need to clarify. You just said say hello. I waved at them. Was that not enough? Lean out from the hole and wave to the people. He could mean. See? He's going to kill you. I gulped. Is that how he made the 5 people jump to their deaths? Saratan was right after all. I had no choice left but to die. I had to jump. No. No. If you don't, then Nami will die. If you do, you'll die. I mean, we can hold on to the edge of the wall, but that would probably be still scary. What was I supposed to do? I tried to think of my best option, but with every thought I had the worst case scenario come to mind in front of me in the form of delusion. Somebody save me. Brother, you jerk. Nami's voice echoed in my panicked ears. Jerk. I can see her smiling in my mind. It was my fault Nanami had nothing to do with any of this, but Shogun kidnapped her because of me, and even cut off her arm. I'm sorry, Nanami. I'm sorry. I wiped the tears away, they came back, and I wiped them away again. And then with blurry vision, I slowly walked to the hole, and gingerly peered out over the edge. Yeah, that would definitely be very, very scary. Let's move the arrow off the screen. There was a sudden cheer below me. It was loud. It sounded like an earthquake. Are they cheering? How can you guys even see me? The big crowd in front of the station and media, too. They were all here for some event that was about to start. Okay. Suddenly, a bright light assaulted me. I narrowed my eyes and thought, yeah, I can't see. It's too bright. I can see the big TV on the next building over, and the person... is it a picture of me? Me. Okay, I'm really... Were you guys expecting this? Okay, what did everyone in the crowd come here for? What is occurring? Huh? Me? The big TV showed me, with my face covered in tears, my mouth wide open like an idiot. Even my posture looked terrible. Well, yeah, we're on the edge of a building. At first, I thought I was seeing things. And then, next, I thought that somebody was secretly recording me, and I shivered. Is there a helicopter? I even thought that maybe it was an image that Shogun was stealing from my mind. And finally, I realized that it was video of me being taken right this very moment. There was text in large letters running across the bottom of the screen. Can we actually read that TV from this far away? Live from Shibuya Station, the amazing psychic boy? What? 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 More text was scrolling beneath it. An emergency live appearance of a psychic boy, personally vouched for by Yuri Brightman. The greatest psychic of the 21st century. Will he use his powers to find the new Gen Killer? What? The what? Finally, I understood. The media and the gawkers and Scrum Across were all looking at me. How did everyone in the world get this memo but me? Don't look at me. Yeah, I'm kind of self-conscious, guys. You're all just... got a stage fright here. Why are they all looking at me? Psychic boy? What the heck? Technically that's true, but still. Again, I didn't get the memo. Didn't they all know what happened today? There was an earthquake. It was an intensity 5 quake. Over 100 people died. So why were they all getting excited over a weird loser like me? Shogun, what's happening, man? Are you fucking kidding me, guys? They're all chanting, whose eyes are those? Like it's a fucking football game? Whose eyes are those? Whose eyes are those? Whose eyes are those? Yeah, I would just say that. It was like a crowd chant of soccer or volleyball. Right, Japan probably doesn't have actual football. Do they? Are there... Heck, is there anyone, let alone high schools, that play American football in Japan? I'm sure there has to be by now. I mean, it probably got popular. People were like, hey, I want to do this. Okay. All the DQNs in Scrum Crossing started to chant. Did they all have a meeting in advance to arrange this, or was Shogun mind controlling them? They all raising their hands, shouting the same phrase in perfect unison. They were insane. I shivered. The chant continued. Between the chants, I could hear the DQN girls screaming at me. Okay. Okay, they actually know my actual name, too. Okay. Talk to me. Over here. I love you. Can I even hear them from up here? Enough to actually understand what they're saying? I'm really high up here. Like, I shouldn't be able to hear that. Oh, it was all in jest. Fuck you guys. When I listened closely, they're all making fun of me. They were all just laughing and enjoying my misery. All they cared about was their own fun. This was the big festival, and I was the sacrifice. And all they cared about was joining in the big party. They were all DQN scum. Nobody was going to save me. They all wanted me to die here. Their mass psychosis was going to kill me. And they weren't doing it out of hatred or anger, but just for fun. No. I don't want to die. I was scared. I thought I would piss myself from fright. I never felt death so close. I thought I was going to pass out like a child having a tantrum. I don't want to die. I was crying and sobbing. I thought that maybe if I cried enough, Shogun would let me go. I don't feel he has empathy, man. Maybe the crowd below would have something to come down. I don't think they care, and I don't think they're capable of doing anything. Maybe the police would realize I wasn't the killer, just a harmless, dorky loser, and come to save me. Maybe my parents are watching at home, and they'd offer to take my place. That's kind of dark, but okay. Maybe Remy would appear out of nowhere to save me. Maybe I'd wake up and find it was all just a dream. That's actually the most likely thing so far. I shook my head desperately, screaming again and again. I didn't want to die. I mean, honestly, we probably just hit our head really hard during the earthquake, and we're in a coma. But take one step back, and Nanami will die. What if I already took the step back like I thought you were telling me to do it? Okay. I don't know. Okay, fine. Well, fuck. Shogun's tone hadn't changed. You're already out on stage. And don't you think it's the perfect stage to awaken? All those people down below have the highest of hopes for you. If you betray them, they might start a riot. They might come to kill you. After hearing that, I couldn't step back or even turn around. Forget him. He's just trying to scare you. Taki, Nanami's already dead. You could run away right now and nobody would blame you. But I want you to focus on what you see. There are a lot of things for me to see right now, Shogun. What am I focusing on? Shogun's voice was completely calm, but it had force behind it that brooked no disagreement. I only want you to do one thing. I can't jump, I'll die. Nobody asked you to jump. Huh? That wasn't what he wanted? Then I didn't have to die? I want you to stand right where you are and find your D-sword. Well, you're a dick. Find my D-sword. How? I looked so hard for it and never even come close. How the hell was I going to find it here? The D-sword is a blade forged from delusions. That should be enough of a hint, right? Is it the anime figurine in my pocket? No, I don't understand. Don't let him fool you, Taki. There's no such thing as a D-sword. There's no such thing as delusions become real. You are the D-sword, though. My imaginary voice. I can't find it. You made contact several times with people who had D-swords. Am I wrong? They would have told you how to find a D-sword. Think back to what they said. This sword controls fate. As I slowly drift across the screen, this sword is a convergence of sorrow. This sword allows us to interact with a higher plane. Another space, you might say. Another possibility that exists within our dimension. Or perhaps a delusion. What you call it doesn't matter. The one thing that's certain is this sword exists in this space. One day, I just had it. I didn't notice at first, but I changed the way I looked at things, and I understood. Maybe you can already see it. You just don't. Doubt the world. Learn how it works. Is what you're seeing truly real? It's possible to turn illusions into reality. You slip something that's not real in everyone's vision. In other words, you make people think that the error is real. That's right. You've been given many hints. You should be able to see it already. Down there, in the scene unfolding below you. So, you'd hidden the D-sword someone in front of me, and you wanted me to find it? If I find it, will you let me go? If you don't find it, you won't be able to clear the quest. You need to get the sword. And while following the rules, too, don't take another step back. But that was impossible. How was I supposed to get the sword without being able to move from up here? What did Shogun ever even want me to do? He's just asking you to do the impossible. So he'll have an excuse to kill you. You can't do that, then Nanami is good as dead. Let's run away, okay, Taki? Let's go home. But if I take a single step back, he'll kill Nanami. Listen to me. Nanami's already as good as dead. He said he wouldn't hurt her. And you believe him? He might be lying. I looked carefully at the scene in front of me. The lights made it hard to see anything far away. Is that blue thing actually the sword just floating in the air? Or is it part of the building? I tried to look at my surroundings as much as I could. But there wasn't much I could see from here. Most everything was hidden by the buildings around me. I had to find the sword. It's impossible. I thought back to what Iyase and Senna had said. What did they mean? But I changed the way I looked at things, and I understood. You slip something that's not real into everyone's vision. And then I thought back to the patterns on the ceiling of my room back at my parents' place. I'd always looked up at them when I was trying to sleep, and thought to myself that the knots in the wood kind of look like a human face. Hey, that's a I forget what that's called, but that's the thing where people tend to see faces and other things. It's a part of the brain that's geared toward pattern recognition. And once I started to see a face there, I couldn't see it as anything else but a face. Yeah, that's normal. Everyone does that. Right. Your eyes playing tricks on you. There are knots like that in every piece of wood. Well, it's not really playing tricks. It's like I said, it's pattern recognition. The human, we're really geared to look at people's faces to understand one another. It's part of a social aspect of humans. So a lot of times that same pattern will carry over in situations where it doesn't apply. That's right, this wasn't like a pattern in a piece of wood. Cut it out. Wait, oh god. Right, I still have body controller. Stop doing that. Cut what out? Shogun's voice was still as calm as a whisper. When you see the sword... When you see the sword, cut it out. You have the power. What's he even talking about? He's just making crap up. It's possible to turn delusions into reality. Like that flower bed, like the second Ayase. The last time I tried to create a real D-sword out of my delusions by using the fake one, it hadn't worked. I turned my head from left to right. I looked at everything I could see from the I was standing. Is that supposed to be the D-sword over there? What do you mean quick saved? I saw a sword. I have a choice? Okay, well this is probably something that really has a huge effect on the story. I saw a sword, yes. I saw a sword clearly. Yes. Am I doing the right thing? If I can move from here, I could get it. Yes. There's also there's tiny words on those. I'm disappointed in you. I thought I chose wisely, but apparently I did not. I was pushed from behind hard. Did I do bad? Did I do good? I don't know. Didn't I do what I was supposed to? I was pushed from behind hard. You are impatient. At some point, someone had gotten behind me. I hadn't noticed at all. It wasn't showing. I heard a creaking sound from a wheelchair. Then who was it? The night sky around Shibuya Station spun and spun. I fell. I could feel the wind on my whole body. The ground got closer. I could hear screams. No, cheers. Coming from the people around me. Fuck all of you. I'm going to flip you off as I turn into spaghetti. What was this? What was this the end? Was my life over? No. No, 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 no. And, well, I assume bad end. Okay. Stop. Everyone's like, why haven't you bought the new controller yet? So, that doesn't count as an ending. Quick load? Okay. I saw a sword. Heavenly Gate? Heaven's Gate? No. I saw something that looked like a sword. No. I saw it as an hallucination. No. You know, I feel like this is going to take a few attempts. But hey, at least I'm getting to make choices now, right? Not that I'm making good ones. Duck and roll. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. I saw a sword. Yes. I saw a sword clearly. No. I only kind of saw a sword. Yes. I could see the sword someplace that wasn't here too. Yes. God damn it! I'm hoping it wasn't Remy that pushed me off the fucking skyscraper. Well, we're definitely not doing the speed run. Yes. Yes. No. I can see the sword someplace that wasn't here too. No. It's not actually a sword. Yes. I saw it. I looked into the night, and the light warping and twisting through my tears. The tears in my eyes, I found a spot that looked like a sword. Ayase was right. I had noticed first, but when I changed the way I looked at things, suddenly it was there. I didn't care if it was just a coincidence or not. And when I started to see it as a sword, the more it contrasted the surroundings, finally it became more and more real, standing out against the scenery around it. Even its outlines were gradually becoming clear. You found it, didn't you? Shogun must have noticed my shock because he spoke almost immediately. Now reach out and cut out the sword. Don't think about it too hard. I know you can do it. It's impossible. No, Taki. If you do that, you'll fall. And if you fall, you'll die. I mean, that's actually a very reasonable thing to say. I looked below. The crowd below me was huge. The ambulances weren't here yet. It was just like this afternoon. They were too slow. Of course they were here. The earthquake this afternoon had been devastating. I can't. Cut it out. Don't let your preconceived notions control you. If you start by thinking you can't do it, you'll never be able to do anything. I mean, that's true. Anything you do in life, you have to have some belief in it. Now, of course, you have to be realistic. But even if something is something you are capable of doing, if you don't believe in yourself, then you'll never be able to do it. Now, believing in yourself is not a guarantee of being able to do it, but at least gives you a chance. You'll never be able to do anything. Throw away common sense and see things as they are. You have the power. The world will answer it. Like it did the flower bed. Could I really do that? Could I really get the sword just by reaching out? Maybe it was worth a try. Ayase had said the D-sword would save me. Maybe this is what she was talking about. I could get the sword and finish the quest, and then Ami would come back alive, and Shogun would leave me alone. I could go back to my normal, peaceful life. Do you really think it'll be that easy? Do you think Shogun will just let you go? He's killed 10 people. Shogun wouldn't try to make me do the impossible. I could do this. That's why he was telling me to do it, because he knew I could. He just wants to kill you. Did you forget about the group dive video? Shogun drove 5 kids to their deaths without even touching them. I hated to disobey Saratan, but still, I reached out to the sword as if seeking salvation. The people below gasped. Thousands of people in the packed crossing below were watching my every move. If you included the people watching TV, there might be a million or tens of millions. I felt like I was going to throw up. The pressure of having so many people watching me threatened to shatter my mind like glass. No, don't think about it. Think about it. And you won't be able to move. For now, focus on the sword. I reached out from where I stood, keeping a close eye on my footing. I focused on the sword and tried to grab it. I couldn't touch it. The wind was blowing hard. It was coming at me randomly, too. One moment it would blow from the front, and the next it would slam into my body from the side. I was grabbing onto the acrylic board, but it was so slippery. It wasn't doing much more than making me feel a little better. If I had the slightest lapse in concentration, I'd fall off. Still, I tried desperately to grab the sword, but no matter how many times I tried, it didn't work. I can't do it. It's not a real sword. The tears came back. My vision blurred again, and the faint sword-like thing I'd seen a moment ago began to dissolve. I quickly wiped away the tears. It felt like if I lost sight of it, I'd never find it again. Then reach out farther. Damn it. Didn't he know how dangerous this was? I bit my lip and held back my tears and reached out further than before. I still couldn't grab it. More. If I fell here... I looked at... Yeah, we have seen that multiple times now. I looked down again. I was higher up than I thought. I felt like I was going to get dizzy and pulled back and clung to the acrylic board. What's wrong? Get the sword. Now. If you don't, you'll never see Nanami again. I shouldn't have looked down. I couldn't stop shaking. I was worried the shaking would make me slip. I was completely terrified. I can't do it. Please let me go. It's not a smart idea to try to waste my time. I'm not here to play games with you. Get the D sword, and if you can't do that, your little sister will die, and so will you. That's all there is to it. No, I don't want to die. Once again, I stretched out my arm from the hole. I could see the sword there still. I tried again and again, but it was no good. I was so close. Why couldn't I reach it? I leaned out further and stretched my whole body. As I reached my hand towards the sword, I even stretched my finger as far as I would go, and slowly clenched my hand. Once again, nothing. I can't reach it. It was impossible. Saratan was right. The sword was half invisible. There was no way to even grab it. It only looked like it was a normal size because it was so far away. It had to be incredibly huge. No human could hold a sword that size. Once you have the sword, the quest will be over. But I'll fall. I can't reach it. Don't you want to save Nanami? Don't hurt me, please. Just let me go. I don't want to die. The voice acting in this game is incredible. Like, the person voicing Nishijo in the Japanese, good job. Heck, just the ambient sounds, the sound effects, the music. Kick-ass. Remember what happened this afternoon with your power. If you fall, you can just create another flower bed. You can fall and not die. Are you confident you can do that? Saratan whispered to me mischievously. Confident. It wouldn't even take 3 seconds for you to... Well, I mean, either I'll live, or I won't live long enough to be scared. You'd have 3 seconds to make another flower bed. Could you do that? What if I just gave myself wings and started flying? Or what if I made myself indestructible? You've never been able to use that power deliberately, right? Yeah, but you're at least admitting I have the power then, right? That's right, even if I did have that power, I didn't know how to use it. Let's run away, okay? You did great. I mean, I still appreciate the tiny bit of emoticons there, but you can't stay here anymore. You don't want to die, right? But Nanami, she's a little brat anyway. Even if you somehow managed to save her here, she probably wouldn't even thank you, would she? That's kind of callous. The truth of what Saratan had stopped me in my tracks. She was right. Even if I said I'm here, I knew exactly what she'd say. This only happened to me because of you, jerk. I don't think she'd say that. She wouldn't be grateful. She'd just be mean. I spent the rest of my life with my whole family hating me. At the end of the day, she was just a 3D sister. She wasn't moe, she wasn't pretty, like a 2D character. This is more so just you just don't trust actual people. This is just negative reinforcement. Having gone a bit extreme. She was always looking down at me. She was always secretly, openly making fun of me. Whatever happened to that little brat wasn't my problem. Maybe I could risk my life for Saratan, but not for her. Taki, just think about yourself, okay? I don't want you to die. I want to keep talking with you like this. Inside your head forever. I want that too. Talking to Saratan was what made me happiest. What happened to Nanami didn't matter. Well, that's kind of harsh. I don't want to die. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to die. I don't want to disappear. I don't care at all what happens to Nanami. I kept whispering the words of trying to make myself believe it. There was one person here who was right, and it wasn't Shogun, it was Saratan. The sword, it looks like a sword, but it's not, just a reflection of light. Just my eyes playing tricks. That's right. Now let's go home. So Shogun, are you aware that I'm having arguments with the voices in my head? Are you just like being there patiently for this? When you get home, I'll let you stare at my panties and have all kinds of naughty delusions. Yeah, I'm going home. Really? Really, dude? I'm going to go home and jerk off to Saratan. Well, this is... Really? That makes me so happy. Really? I'll make all sorts of kinds of naughty poses for you. This is... disappointing? I slowly pulled my hand back. Just doing so made me feel so much better. I took the Saratan figure out of my pocket and stared at her smile. If Saratan was okay with what I was doing, that was all that mattered. I wiped the snot from my nose and turned around and walked towards Shogun. Who told you that you can move? You haven't finished your quest. I'm not a hero. I'm just a loser. Creepy Otaku can't save his sister. Don't have any hopes for me. Don't look at me. Just leave me alone. I'll have to kill Nanami then. She's already dead anyway. She was already dead. Shogun had killed her in some horrible way. It would probably be the top story of the news tomorrow, the 6th new gen case. It was sad, but I couldn't do anything about it. Okay. Hello? Hello? Um, brother. Brother. Okay, so after having a slightly schizo sort of thing where we talk to ourselves with our imaginary emotional support waifu and convince ourselves not to care about our sister, who I am pretty sure has most certainly lost a fucking hand, we will be overcome with emotion and be like, and then realize how much we really love and care about our family. At which point, then we will get a running, leaping jump off the building to dramatically catch the giant ass Zywander. And everyone's like, you mispronounced that. Like, I know. Giant. It's a German word. It's a giant, massive two-handed sword. I like the version of it that existed in the Shining Force EXA game on the PS2. But yeah, and then we're gonna like sprout like angel wings and fly through the sky with our like 20-foot long sword that even fucking that's gonna be wider than Cloud's Buster Sword, but longer than Sephiroth's Muramase. And everyone's like, is the sword compensations for something? No, absolutely not. And then, Nishijo gets into a giant pickup truck. But yeah, that's what I'm expecting. But first, we have to get to the extremely morbid, motivational scene. I heard what sounded like dripping water, but it wasn't water. It was Nanami's blood. It was bright red, dripping from her severed wrist. Why? Didn't you save me? Brother. Why? Didn't you save me? Brother. Oni-chan, you're the worst. Mental breakdown commence. I scream. Damn you, damn you, damn you, damn you, damn you, damn you, damn you. The whole world turned red. My mind went blank with rage, sorrow, and helplessness. And I charged into Shogun at full speed. I grabbed at the figure hidden in the shadows, but my hands passed through thin air. And I collapsed onto the wheelchair? I must hit my elbow because it was stinging from the pain. I winced and looked around for the person in the wheelchair. There was a severed head rolling at my feet. Trembling, I picked it up off the ground. It was very hard. I realized quickly there wasn't a severed head at all. It was some kind of helmet. This is a black helmet. Hello? Oh yeah, it's a Shogun helmet. Darth... Are you fucking kidding me? Darth Spider. You fucking... I'm the one who does the DBZ fusions of characters. You fucking fuse Darth Vader and Spider-Man? It's like we just have a redo of the original Spider-Man movie. Uncle Ben's dying and Pete's holding his hand. He's like, looks up at him and says, "Kill them all, Peter." It'd be a very different Spider-Man movie. What? The entrance to the Hanzuman subway was packed, even though it was almost midnight. Thanks to the earthquake, all the trains and buses were running late. The people heading through the turnstiles weren't even trying to hide their annoyance. Bond was in the station staff office, watching them on the monitors. So was there an option where I would have like jumped out and grabbed the fucking sword? Would that have been possible? Did I still choose poorly and I just got bad end number 23 or something? The call had come in from the station staff yesterday morning. There was a report of a teenage girl attacking people with a huge bladed weapon. Local police had rushed the scene, but when they'd gotten there was no sign of a girl or the man she supposedly attacked. Bond happened to hear this and noticed the description of the man she'd supposedly attacked. There were several earlier reports, same thing happening, and that's why he'd come here this grand awful hour. Supposedly the station's video cameras had captured the incident on tape. When he had asked the station staff to show him the video, they'd eagerly agreed, stopping only to add that it was a little bit creepy. He had them use the station monitors to show him the footage. It was full of static. The static was probably from the earthquake. He had heard that a lot of the hard disk drives had lost all data today. That probably had something to do with it. It was only barely possible to make out what was going on. It would be very hard to identify any individuals on the tape. The monitor was showing a single man. He was on the right side of the screen, a distance away from the monitor, standing against the wall. The camera was showing a spot the distance away, but the turnstile was one you wouldn't see where it would get on the train. In fact, the only other people that appeared on the screen, quickly cutting across the camera's field of view. The screen was so fuzzy, the static was hard to tell, but he looked like he was short and extremely thin, and he was wearing a heavy backpack too. Bond couldn't imagine what he was doing there. He would fast forward the video. After an hour or so, something happened. A few of the passersby walked by the screen and walked toward the man and stopped. They looked at Bond as if they were being drawn in by the backpack he was wearing. What was especially strange, though, was that he didn't seem to be talking. They were just standing there. The few who stopped didn't seem to know each other either. They were different ages, genders. They seemed to have nothing in common. What was going on? Just as Bond started to get really confused with going on the screen, though, a girl appeared on the camera. She was wearing a Sume Academy uniform and had long hair. She had walked right to the man with the backpack. The way she was moving was clearly different from the other ones who stopped nearby before. She knocked them out of the way as she grabbed the backpack man's collar. The two of them argued for a moment, where actually it felt like a girl was threatening the man. This seemed to bring the others back to their senses. They quickly walked away. A few moments later, the girl gave the man a hard shove. The man fell flat on his ass, and then something strange happened. The girl took a step back, struck an odd pose. She dropped low and seemed to bring her fists to her ears. She's wielding a giant sword that's invisible. It looked like she was holding something heavy in her hands, but there was nothing there at all. The report had said she was carrying a huge bladed weapon, but where could she be hiding it on her body? The answer immediately became clear. The screen, that is, the camera suddenly began to shake. That wasn't static, that was the hair and clothes the people around them flapping, as if they were blowing air and wind, made it much more clear. What the heck? Bond leapt forward to get a closer look at the screen. Suddenly, the girl was holding a huge sword in her hands. It was bigger than she was tall, and Bond had no idea where she'd got it from. He had them rewind the tape so he could see it again. No matter how many times he watched it, the sword just seemed to appear from thin air. If nothing else, the girl hadn't moved at all. What kind of magic trick is this? The people on the screen were freaking out at the girl and her sword. She, however, was completely ignoring them. The man with the backpack, though, was clearly frightened. He scrambled to his feet and tried to run away. The girl refused to let him. The man was surprisingly agile as he ran, but the girl caught up and swung the massive blade like a winged nun and weighed nothing at all. The sword cut through the man's backpack like a tornado. The impact knocked him to the ground. He didn't seem to be hurt, though. In fact, when the police got there, they hadn't found any blood at all. Who the hell is this girl? Bond whispered loud. The girl suddenly looked at the camera as if she'd heard him, even though there's no way she could with a pre-recorded video. The screen blurred for a moment. And she was gone. It was as if she had never been there in the first place. The shattered remains of the man's backpack, though, testified that she had been. It was hard to tell from the static on the screen, but it was plain to see that she disappeared in less than the span of a second. Band ran on the tape. The timestamp in the corner showed nothing unusual at all. In other words, this video hadn't been spliced. But how to explain the disappearance of the girl and the appearance of the sword, then? Bond felt like he had seen a ghost. He had no explanation for any of this. But yeah, was there a way for me to jump out of the building and grab the sword? Do I have control over that? Or is the option just fall to my death, or what I did? The world around me is perfectly white. I was lying down. It felt like I was floating, but I couldn't tell if it was. I couldn't tell which way was up, which way was down. The silence was loud in my ears. It was like hundreds of crickets were chirping in my head. If somebody told me this was the afterlife, I wouldn't have doubted it for a second. The place was just so monotone, empty, silent, orderly, organized, vacant, and peaceful. This must have been the Buddha's brain was like after he achieved enlightenment. It wasn't like my brain at all. I wanted to stay here forever. All the crap I had put up with in the real world, the pain, the suffering, the emptiness, I didn't want to deal with any of it. And then a noise disrupted the silent white world. It was the sound of a door opening and the sound of somebody's footsteps. They were coming closer. Brother, I came to see you. Let's see. Here it is. Brother, I brought you something. Look, a present. So is this a memory from my earlier childhood? And then as I'm spun on by this, like, so the bloody memory made me be angry, and then this memory I'm like, oh no, I love my sister, and then I'd run off and grab the fucking sword. Look, a present. It's a hand knit cap. It's great, isn't it? Did you knit it? Either way, I thank you. It's a hand knit cap. It's great, isn't it? Isn't it? It's winter, and I like caps, so I knitted one for you. Wow, that's impressive. I mean, even if you just bought it for me, that's cool, but you actually took the time to make this for me. Thank you. Use it, okay? Brother, don't ignore me. Hey, you didn't finish your meal, and it's curry today, too. You need to eat. Hey, is it true that hospital food isn't very good? But you need to eat. Get up, brother. If you go to sleep without eating, you'll get hungry in the middle of the night. Somebody had come around to my back. They pushed me up and sat me up. It was only then I realized my eyes were closed. We're having a memory. And it's a very wholesome one at that. I opened them, and there was a small girl there. It was Nanami, my little sister. But she was so small. It was the Nanami as she had looked several years ago. How many years, though? She had to be in elementary school at least. Okay. Say ah. Well, this is extremely sweet. She's actually taking the time to try to feed you and actually... Also, why are we in the hospital? Like, we weren't hurt as a kid. The young Nami scooped up curry with a plastic spoon and offered it to me, and I knocked her hand away. And for some reason, I swept the tray with the curry rice onto the floor of my arm. Oh? I mean, that wasn't very nice. Brother, you've got such bad table manners. I'll tell Mommy on you. Nanami crouched down and picked up the tray. Next, she brought a washcloth over the sink in the corner of the room and began to clean up its splattered contents. You really are a handful. You can't do anything without me, you know? Just leave me alone. I covered my face with my hands and slowly closed my eyes. Sorry I couldn't protect you. I slowly opened my eyes and saw a white ceiling. The white was dazzling bright. I blinked a few times. I tried moving my fingers. I brought my hand up to my face. My hand made a shadow, blocking the light. Only then was I free from the brightness. I had been dreaming. It was a dream about Nanami. Nanami had always been such a little grown-up. That tendency of hers had only gotten more pronounced when I stopped talking to everybody after the bus accident. Honestly, it's just very sweet and very caring of her to do. My parents had just become overprotective, but whatever mean things Nami might say, she would always try and take care of me. But that dream, had I ever stayed at a hospital like that? I had been going to one, but never stayed there, right? Well, there was no point in trying to read too much into a dream. I was lying down in the bed. Are we still in a flashback? Were we having a flashback in the middle of a flashback? Are we going to wake up in bed and find out that we're the one missing a fucking hand? That we cut off our own fucking hand or some shit? I was lying on a bed. It was a simple white bed and the sheets were white. The pillows were white, the linoleum floor was white, the wallpaper was white too. Even the fluorescent lights on the ceiling were white. The curtains on the windows were white. The tiny shelf to the bed was white. The porcelain pitcher on it was white. The paper cups were white. I was starting to get sick of all the white. I tried forcing myself to sit up. For a single instant, I felt a numbing pain around my lower back, but it quickly vanished. The room was pretty big, twice the size of the base. At least, but it was empty. It might have been a hospital room. I could see a single pair of green slippers just under the bed. I felt relieved to find something that wasn't white. I was moving, and I wasn't dead, from the look of it. My throat was dry. I wanted a soda, a cold, fizzy soda. But of course, there wasn't nothing like that in the pure white room. I ended up pouring water from my pitcher directly into my mouth. It was a little warm, but enough to slake my thirst. Hi, I remember you. After I finished drinking my water and taking a moment to catch my breath, the door opened. A white-clad nurse came in. So this place was a hospital after all. Okay. She seemed a little surprised. She looked at me. She thought I was still asleep, it seemed. Do I not remember you? Or oh my. Nishijo, you're awake. Is Nami dead? Did I somehow choose poorly? Like, was there some other line of choices I could have made that would have resulted in me grabbing the sword? She smiled gently at me. What a great nurse she was. Wait, I felt like I'd seen her somewhere before. Oh, now I remember. I'd met her when I'd gone and seen Dr. Takashina. My nose is kind of stuffy. What was her name again? Hazuki, I think. I might need to start taking an antibiotic again. Those teeth are starting to hurt again. I couldn't remember, so I glanced at the name tag in her chest. Hazuki, I read. Right, Hazuki. How are you feeling? She offered me a thermometer. I took it without really thinking about what was going on. Take your temperature for me, okay? I couldn't say no if she was going to be this nice. My head was overflowing with doubt, so I put the thermometer under my arm anyway. When the memories burst inside my head, I remembered what happened before. Up on the roof. After I'd given up on saving Nanami, I'd charged Shogun in the wheelchair. Okay, was it an option not to do that? Like, was it... Like, did we have a choice of jumping out and grabbing the sword and, like, growing angel wings and be able to, like, shoot lasers and stuff? Like, did I actually have any choice in this game? Or is my choice fall off fucking building and go splat? Or fight Darth Vader's Spider-Man? I charged Shogun, but there was nobody there. I'd fallen over and found myself holding Darth's spider helmet. Count Darth Spider was a famous villain from the movie Spark Wars. His all-black silhouette was famous even in Japan. I'd never even expected millionaires to find that Shogun was wearing a Darth Spider cosplay. All my anger melted away, replaced by... It was probably being used as a speaker transmitter. I stood up and looked at the wheelchair. Nobody was in it. There was a black hooded robe draped around the back of the wheelchair. It was part of Darth Spider's costume, too. I looked around to see if anyone else was there, but there wasn't. I was the only person on the dark roof. Then the media came rushing in. Well, I don't like your smiles. These are not good smiles. They surrounded me, microphones, cameras, lighting. There was nowhere to run. I didn't count how many people were there, but at least a dozen. The sheer intensity of all of them terrified me. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move an inch. They were crushing me. Nishijo, what did your psychic powers tell you? Does this mean you failed to find out who's behind the New Gen murders? Does that Darth Spider helmet have something to do with your powers? What the fuck's going on? Nishijo, would you please answer us? This is the end of the show. You just hijacked the Air Force. What? I didn't do shit! What was the point of all this? Are you trying to use the New Gen murders to get famous? Don't you think that's a little inappropriate? Have you talked to Yuri Brightman lately? What did you talk about? Do you think there's a connection between the earthquake and New Gen? Is that anime figurine you're holding in your hands for some kind of ritual? Did anime or video games make you do this? Haha. Nishijo. Lights were so bright and we probably passed out. I felt like my flesh was burning on the midsummer sun. There were so many people around me that the heat of their bodies made my head feel woozy. The vision was spinning. I was pushed into a corner, panicking and couldn't breathe. I'm going to read the actual achievements for this game. I want to know. Reached ending A. Brother You Jerk discovered Inami's story. Crying Sky reached ending B. Daydream reached Nami's ending. Ria Ju, Delusions, Synchro Rate 0. Okay, probably we answered no to all those questions on that one test. You recognize it, right? Discovered Yua's story. Whose eyes are those? Find all the whose eyes are those. What am I supposed to be like clicking on stuff in the background? Moon and Sun reached Yua's ending. Pound in the Steak discovered Ayase's story. Snap discovered Rimi's story. A Bloody Contractor Skid reached Ayase's ending. Kerbam Schwing discovered Kozui's story. Soda-flavored Gariku discovered Senna's story. A disease that leads to slaughter reached Kozui's ending. Anime Archetype reached Rimi's ending. Deus Ex Machina reached Senna's ending. Blue Sky reached the final ending. Ending Complete reached all ending. Positive Person found all positive delusions. Negative Person found all negative delusions. CG Complete found all event CGs. Chaos Head Noah acquired all achievements. There are 3 hidden achievements. Okay, so I still don't know. I also feel like I'm eventually going to need a guide for this game. Put my hands in bed. I don't feel like I've had a lot of choice. Was I supposed to be like putting the arrow around and try to click on stuff in the background? I couldn't see a thing. I didn't want to see a thing. I couldn't hear a thing. I didn't want to hear a thing. I couldn't feel a thing. I didn't want to feel a thing. Stop. Stop it. And as I screamed, my mind went blank like a short circuit. Okay. But yeah, so was jumping out the window and grabbing giant 2-story sword possible? That's right. It's like we're going to play Monster Hunter. It's a video game. It's okay. That's right, I passed out. And then how'd I end up here after that? I couldn't remember. If nothing else, I was sure I hadn't walked here on my own. Maybe I'd been brought here by an ambulance. Hazuki was writing something on the clipboard in her hand. There must have been some kind of paper stuck on it. Was she writing down my symptoms? I was able to check the time from the simple, nondescript wristwatch on her arm. It was just past 6 in the morning. I've been out for a long time. To look at it. Exit. So the only thing I've been able to pick is 1, whether or not Hazuki wore glasses. 2, the questionnaire thing, and 3, the doors thing. I've been out for a long time for the look of it. But why this hospital, though? If Hazuki was here, then that meant it was the one I usually went to. This place was a big general hospital. I could see somebody deciding to bring me here. But something still didn't seem right. I wasn't sure why Hazuki would be the one assigned to me. She worked in the psychiatric ward, right? If she was here, did this mean it was usually used by mental patients? Maybe the beds were all full because so many people were hurt in the earthquake yesterday. Maybe the beds in the mental ward had been the only ones open. Or maybe they thought I had collapsed because of mental disorder. Well, they did. They weren't that far off. I was starting to feel more and more depressed. Your family was here to see you yesterday, but you weren't waking up, so they left around midnight. Your mother will be coming around the time we open for visitors. I nodded, since I didn't even have the strength to answer. Mom, I'm the most embarrassing son in all Japan. No, maybe the entire world. Why'd it have to be on TV? The whole country had seen me up there, sobbing and crying. It was almost certainly on YouTube, too. I didn't know why they were saying I was some kind of psychic boy, or why they'd want to broadcast my every move of creepy loser otaku, like me, on the day of the huge earthquake. The only conclusion I had come up with was that Shogun really had mind-controlled them all. Either way, they'd seen me all my shame. This wasn't just some internet thing that'd be over in a day or two. I might not ever have a peaceful life again. Suddenly, an image of Nami's face flashed mine. I bit my lip and squeezed my hands against my thighs. If I had managed to save Nanami, none of that would have mattered. The whole world could have laughed at me for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't have cared. But I hadn't even been able to save her. Was that possible? Could we have saved her? Am I required to go through all the endings? Like, is it like I have to get the ending? Because there was no way I was going to pick this path first anyway. You know, there's no way I was going to guess correctly about how to not fall and hit my head on the ground. But am I required to go through all the endings? Is it just an issue of the illusion of choice and you're just required to go through all the bad options first? Or am I supposed to click stuff in the background? I hadn't even been able to see it. Nana? What? The tears came pouring down my face. What's wrong? Does it hurt somewhere? Is there a reason I should be hurting somewhere? I shook my head again as I cried. Nanami was dead. Nanami wasn't coming back. It was my fault. It was my fault. It was my fault. Because I was such a loser, that's why Nanami had died. I don't know if I had control over that. Up on the roof, I'd listened to Saratan, or rather my heart's weakness, talking to me through her, and given up on the D-sword without even really trying. I had chosen to save myself, and to pretend to be a poor little victim instead of saving her. I hated myself in the bottom of my heart. If, when I was up there, if I had tried a little harder, I was the one who made the decision to give up, and yet I regretted it now that everything was over. That was the worst possible thing a person could do. Regret didn't help anyone, but still, I couldn't help but think, if I could go back to that moment, I'd try a little harder. So is that the thing, like we're required to go through this bad end first, because there's no possible way we could have jumped out for it? And then, after we have this memory, we like time travel back and try again, like, do we have time travel? Is time travel a thing? In this game, I don't know. But of course, even if I did go back, I'd probably make a bunch of excuses and give up again anyway. The music is really good. That was what I always did. God, I was pathetic.
Nanami.
Nanami.
Gomen.
I'm sorry.
Nanami.
Nanami. Very good voice acting. Hazuki rubbed my back to comfort me. I was such a failure. I was even causing trouble for this nurse, and she had nothing to do with it. But the tears kept coming. There's something you regret, isn't there? But don't worry. I'm sure your sister will forgive you. How did she know Nanami was my sister? And I didn't want to hear something so cliched. I hated to say this about Hazuki when she was being so nice to me, but there's no way she could understand how I felt. I hated myself so much, I was so pathetic. I kept looking for other people to comfort me, when I only cared about myself. I'd be better off dead. Maybe I really should kill myself. She was really worried about you yesterday. How? Your younger sister is very cute, isn't she? What was she talking about? Nanami, my sister, is dead. Okay, so we only said that part out loud. Shogun had kidnapped her, chopped off her arm. He'd locked her up somewhere. And she'd probably died there, all by herself. And lonely. And the thought of it made me feel like my heart would burst. Is that right? I'm sorry. I must have been mistaken. I'd always thought that Nanami was obnoxious, but thinking back, we've been siblings for 16 years. She'd always called me a jerk, but she'd always been worried about me. She was always so annoying because she was trying to break me out of my miserable life. When she brought something to eat from home, she didn't just give it to me, she always tried to make sure we ate together. Yeah, she wanted to spend time with you. Normally a girl that age would be trying her best to ignore a creepy older brother like me. Nanami might have been mean, but she'd always talk to me. She always listened to what I had to say. At school, even instead of ignoring me, she'd actively try to talk to me. I was a pathetic virgin otaku, but Nanami had always treated me like I was her brother, like I was a person. She was one of the few things that kept me going. Realizing that when it was too late didn't change anything though.
でも、だとしたら、鬼ってどういう意味なのかしら。
But what did she mean by brother then? Huh? Huh? I looked up, unsure of what she meant. My eyes were so teary, I couldn't see the look on her face. What had she just
眠
said?
ってる西条さんを
She kept calling you brother
鬼
while you were asleep,
と何度も呼んでいた
over
か
and
ら、
over again.
その印
It
象
really
が
stuck
強
with
くて
me. You might want to give her a call and tell her to come here so I can figure out what's going on. There was only one person who called me that.
それ
Is that
本当ですか
true? I was so excited that I got out of bed and went over to her.
はい
I'm
何が
sorry.
です
Is what true?
ななみが
Nanami, my little
今の
sister.
ななみがここに来て
Came
たんです
here?
かいえ、その
No,
は
I
っきりお名前を
didn't
聞い
get
た
her
わ
name.
けでは
Was it Rimi?
ぼ
Was it
僕のこと鬼って呼んでたんですね
But she was calling me brother, right?
え
Yes.
えななみはい今
Where
ど
is
こに
Nanami now?
ですから昨日はお帰りになりま
I
した
told
け
you
ど
she went home last night.
西条さんのお
Her
母
and your
様
mom.
と一緒に怪我とかし
Was
ま
she
せんでしたか
What was not? Was Nanami hurt?
はい
I'm sorry, no, not in any way that I could see.
特には元気だったんですねななみ
What
は
was she
元
doing,
気だったんですね
She was she doing okay? She was doing okay, right?
はい
Yes.
いえななみさんかどうかはわかりませんけど昨日いらしていた女の子
Well,
は
I don't know if
元
the
気
girl
そ
I
うで
saw
した
yesterday
よ
was Nanami, but the one who was here seemed to be just fine. Nanami was alive. From what Hazaki was saying, that much seemed clear. I sat back down on the bed. My brain was close to total shutdown. What had happened? Shogun said he wouldn't give Nanami back unless I finished the quest. Had he released her out of pity? Was that even possible? Or had she run away on her own? Or did he just let her go just so he can kill her again? To make me I'm gonna make you fucking suffer for fucking failing your quest. It's like you have failed Skyrim for the last time. But then what about the hand that had shown up in my room? Hazuki had even said if she wasn't hurt.
もしかしたら君の家に送ったあの手首は別人のものかもしれないよ。
That might have been somebody else's wrist, you know. So he wasn't lying when he said that. Shogun had just been toying with me. He deceived me. No, the fact that he deceived me didn't even matter now.
そっか
I see. So she was okay. She was okay. She was okay. Nami had never been kidnapped in the first place. While I was on top of the O front trying to grab that D-sword, she was probably at home reading manga in bed. We were going to karaoke with her friends and singing out of key. I was crying, but I couldn't stop laughing.
西条さん
Nishijo?
将軍にまんまと騙された
Shogun really got me good. Yeah, it's one hell of a prank show, man. Man.
壮大な釣りだよ
Talk about an epic troll. Nanami was alive. She was alive. I'd get to see her bratty face again. Hear her obnoxious voice again. Felt so relieved and so happy until the other shoe drops and we find out, okay, the hand was mine. Also, Nanami's actually dead. Or she's like, oh, hi, brother. Explosion.
よかった
I'm so glad. The tears wouldn't stop, but they weren't tears of frustration. I've been weeping a moment
よ
ago.
かった
I'm so glad. Maybe I was a total failure. Maybe I'd given up on trying to save Nanami on my own yesterday. But as long as she was safe, that was all that mattered. The whole world could laugh at me, and I wouldn't care. Really, I was just so happy. Okay. There was another meeting being held in the big conference room at Shibuya Police Station today. All the detectives looked exhausted, and none of them were looking forward to the more hours of useless discussion. Matsunaga started Asking the various officers for the reports, Ban nervously raised his hand.
ちょっといいですかね
May I speak?
なんだね。
What is it? It wasn't just Matsunaga who looked suspicious. Even Sua in the chair next to him and the rest of the detectives too looked suspicious. Ban gave his usual shallow smile, and they made a few little bows as he looked around the room.
先
About
日インターネット上に投稿されたいわゆる集団ダイブの映像についてなんですが、実はちょっとした発見をしまして。
about the video that was uploaded to the internet the other day, the so-called group dive video. I've made a small discovery.
え
Huh? Sua seemed shocked. It was understandable that he would be. Ban hadn't told his partner a word about this investigation into the video. Of course, it wasn't that he had wanted to keep it a secret,
バ
but...
ン警部補。
Lieutenant Ban,
君は確
I
か
believe you were
貼り付け
assigned
の捜査担当
to
だ
the
ったは
crucified
ずだ。
case.
なぜ集団
Why
ダ
are
イ
you
ブについ
looking
て
into the
調べ
group
て
dive? Well, that was why. Ban had been ignoring the task force orders and going off on his own, and he didn't want to get Sue involved. That would have been a great way to ruin the career of a promising young
あ
detective.
まあ
Well,
とりあえず
at least
見て
hear
くだ
me
さい
out
って
first. Ban gave a sheepish smile as he took the large photos out of the file folder in front of him. He pinned them to the board of magnets. Okay?
これはどっちも
These
集団
are
ダイブの
both
現場となった
photos of
コーネリア
Cornelius
スタワ
Tower,
ー屋上
the
の写真
location
です
of the group dive.
右の写真は例の
The right
ニュー
is
スで
taken
投稿映像から
from the
抜き出
video
した
uploaded. Are you saying that one had a skyscraper, the other didn't? The one video of YouTube.
左のは
The
昨
left
日の
was
夜
taken
私
last
が
night
タワー屋上に
when I
行っ
went
て
to
撮って
the
き
top
たものにな
of
り
the
ます
tower with a camera.
何か違いに気づ
Notice
きませんか
anything unusual? One's got a skyscraper, the other one doesn't.
あ
Oh. Murmurs spread throughout the room.
背景がね違うんです
The background looks different. The left was taken last night. When was that building built? Okay, either the world changed to suddenly spawn in a building, like someone like did a Minecraft speedrun, or the video of the group dive happened years ago, or in an alternate reality. The background
投
looks different.
稿映像のカメラは
The camera used to take the video is pointing to the
5人が
northeast.
転落した
We
の
know
は
that
北
because
東だった
that's the
から間違
side
いない
the five kids fell off.
で
Now,
映像では
329 in the video,
29秒から
there's a
約
15-second
15
span
秒間カメラが左
where
右
the
へ
camera
動いて
shakes
いるん
wildly
ですが
from left to right.
その時に
What you
東を向
see
いた時の映像
when
が
it's pointing
この
east
右側の写
is
真
this
なわ
photo.
けです
Okay, so we're just looking at different sides. Okay, so what's
コー
happening?
ネリアスタワー
East side of the Cornelius
つまり
Tower facing
六本木方面ですね
Roppongi, in other words.
東京タワーが
You can see
夜景の中
Tokyo
にしっか
Tower
り
standing out against the
赤い
night
から
sky.
目立ちますね
Okay, but
もう一つ
there's one other thing that sticks out,
映ってないんです
which
よ
isn't there. Ban narrowed his eyes and stroked the stubble on his chin, a self-depreciating smile on his face.
六本木ビルズですよ
Roppongi Bills. What? A look at the photo showed he was right. There's no sign of the light from the rope. What is that? A building? What is Roppongi Bills? Like pasta? By the photo upon it taken yesterday, the lights from the windows of Roppongi Bills could clearly be seen next to Tokyo Tower. Okay. What's
でたまたま見つけ
now?
た
I
んです
happen to find
コ
a
ーネリ
little
アスタワーの
display
ホテルロビーに
in the
タ
tower
ワー
lobby
完成当時の
celebrating
パネルが展示し
the
てありま
building's
して
completion.
そのパネルの一つが
One of the panels contains this photo. Ban took out another photo from his folder and pinned it to the other two. It was another photo from the roof, this time taken during day, not
六
night.
本木ビルズが
You
映って
can
ます
see
よね
Roppongi Bills right.
建設中です
It's
が
under construction, so it's the name of the skyscraper. Well, no, that was Tokyo Tower. I don't know what we're talking about, guys. The murmurs in the room grow even louder. Even Matsunaga was staring at the photo silently, a stern expression Still
コー
plaster
ネ
on
リ
his
アス
face.
タワーの完成
Cornelius
は
Tower
2001年
was finished in
六本木
2001.
ビルズの完成
Roppongi
は
Bills was
2003年
finished in 2003.
タワー完成当時の
Of
写
course,
真では
in the photo
当
taken
然な
when
が
the
ら
tower was
六本木
complete,
ビルズは
Roppongi
建
Bills
設
was
中
still
で
under construction
まだ高さも
and
ほとん
wasn't
ど
the
ない
size it is today.
だが
But
集団ダイブが
the
起
group
きたのは
dive
今年
took place this year
2008年
in 2008.
映ってなきゃおかしいですよ、ね、
It doesn't make sense
六本木ビルズ
for it to not be there.
ちなみに
For what it's
投
worth,
稿映像に細工された形跡
there was no
はな
sign
かっ
the
た
video was altered.
つまり何が言いたい？
What are you getting at? Matsuno sounded impatient and annoyed. This is really hard to come out and say, but
まさか先輩、この映像が撮られたのは2003年以前、つまり5年以上前って言いたいんですか？
yep, that's what I was thinking. Are you trying to tell us this video was taken before 2003? That is over 5 years ago? Hey, come on now, Sua. Ben's shoulders slumped. That was exactly what he was trying to say, and he couldn't help but be impressed at the young detective's intuition and sharp mind. But having somebody come out and say it so directly made him look like a lunatic. Ben's attempts to find the best way to phrase it had all come to
バ
naught.
カバカしい。小
Ridiculous.
説の読みすぎではないが
Sure, you
ね
haven't been reading too much fiction.
映像に映って
The
いる
faces on
被
the
害者
victims
5
the
人の
videos
顔は
match.
一致している
There's no way the video could be
あれが
5
5
years
年前
ago.
のもののはず。そんなつまら
If
な
you
い
got
ことを
time
調
to go
べている
research
暇があ
useless
った
nonsense, then why don't you go out and do your job, Lieutenant?
警部補。
ああ
Well,
今のは聞かなかったこ
I'll
と
do you a favor and pretend this never happened. Also, stay
後で
after
話
the
がある
meeting.
から
I
会
need
議
to
が
talk
終
to
わ
you
ったらの
personally. Ban sighed a little, gave up, and sat down. Well, he hadn't expected it to work in the first place. He lazily flapped his fan in front of his face, trying to tell himself stuff I accidentally skipped by. Trying himself he had expected to go this badly the whole time. Of course, Ban himself had no answer to the question of what Roppongi Bills was not doing in the video meant. After I found out Nanami was alive, and the doctor came and asked me some simple questions. The questions were to see if I was functioning well or not. I gave half-hearted answers as I directed to get out of the hospital before my mom came. I just embarrassed myself on national TV. How was I supposed to face my family? And if Nanami came, I was sure to start crying from sheer joy. Then Nanami would say, "Don't make me worry like that, jerk." She'd be totally serious too, and you'd have no idea I'd been through. Imagining the embarrassment made me feel almost physical pain. I decided to make a strategic retreat before that actually happened. After eating a small amount of the disgusting breakfast they brought me, I slipped out of my room. I went down to the first floor and through the lobby. Since the hospital wasn't open, the outpatient hall wasn't packed with seniors like it usually was. When I got to the front, I walked right out. Unfortunately, the automatic door opened just like it was supposed to. Leaving the hospital might get the doctors and nurses mad at me, but I could always go back here once everything had calmed down. I'd left a note for my mom telling her to pay my bill. That was good enough, right? I'd spent the night in the hospital, but physically there was nothing wrong with me. And mentally, knowing Nami was safe had driven a lot of my depression away. I headed back to the base at top speed, being careful to make sure Yua and Shoga weren't waiting to ambush me. Phew. I was back. My mental state was completely different from than it was when I left. Now I felt great, of course. If anything, I wish I could speak to the me that left here yesterday. You're about to get trolled. What is that M9? You don't need to worry so much. Nami's fine, lol. I'd say something like that. Yesterday had been really awful. Everything had been awful. It started with that weird call in the morning, then the earthquake. Then I'd lost my data on my hard drive. I had to witness Yasi's suicide attempt up close. Then there was an email from Shogun. He sent me a severed hand. A severed hand? Yeah, we should probably check that out. The joyous feeling faded instantly. I gulped and turned toward the fridge. Why would I put it in the fridge? The hand was still, well, I mean, in case maybe we could like reattach it. The hand was still inside. Before I'd left, my head had been a total mess. The best idea I could come up with was to put it in the refrigerator. Honestly, that's probably it might rot if I left it out, and the blood smelled really bad. I mean, at this point, it's too late to reattach to whoever it's from. I would say this. If it's my hand, I should have noticed it on the walk here. The blood smelled really bad, too. There was a lot of sci-fi anime and movies where people live for hundreds of years in cold sleep, right? I don't think it works that way. This kind of said, nope, that's not the same thing. Yesterday I'd been really thinking that when Nanami was safe, if I'd kept her hand in good condition, maybe they could do an operation, put it back. You gotta rush that shit to the hospital immediately, like packed in ice. Like it's not like the movies. There's a very limited time span. Same way like CPR. They try to make it like CPR saves someone's life every time. The amount of times people do CPR on people and they are just dead, I mean, it doesn't, like, it's better to try, but it's not as guaranteed to help as most people think it does. Same way they play for laughs, like hitting people in the head in movies to knock them out, but like that shit's not safe. You could easily kill someone doing that. If you hit someone in the head hard enough, knock them unconscious, there's always a chance they are never waking up, even if it didn't look like you did that much damage. And there's always the chance you do more damage than you expected. But even if it looks like the person's unharmed and just knocked out, there's a chance they never wake up. There's a chance they have a concussion that kills them within a few days. Usually there's that thing that if you get a concussion, you have to like stay up for like 24 hours. Because there's that worry that if you fall asleep, you aren't waking up. Then again, I've had so many fucking blows to the head, I don't know what really counts as a concussion anymore. I think I've had fevers 106, 107. I got half a dozen 106. I've had swelling in the brain. I've had meningitis, encephalitis in the brain and spine. I've gotten my head hit a lot. I've had like a dozen staples across the side of my left head. Operation, put it back on. If that wasn't Nanami's hand, then whose was it? And how to explain the bangle on the phone? If it wasn't mistaken, they both belonged to Nanami. When I called Nanami's number, that phone had rung. Or maybe that was all part of Shogun's plan. Was it really possible to make such a perfect copy of her hand, though? Maybe I should take another look at it. I really didn't want to, though. A severed hand was just disgusting. Just imagining it made me want to throw up. Even if it was just Nanami's. Even if it was Nanami's, okay? But I couldn't keep it in the fridge forever. I'd have nowhere to chill my soda. No. Now, I may be a bit of a... I don't know, maybe everyone out there would disagree with me on this, saying I'm maybe a bit of a germaphobe or something, but I don't think any amount of bleach makes that fridge usable again. I think we need to just throw the fridge away. I don't care how much bleach we could possibly use on that fridge. Once we have kept a severed fucking body part in there, we need to just, like, throw the entire fridge away and buy a new one. Everyone's like, that's wasteful. I'm like, I don't care. I am not using the severed hand fridge. It's like, oh, but we cleaned it. I don't care. I am not keeping my sodas and sandwiches in the severed hand fridge. Getting a new fridge. I thought about getting the cops to come get it, but then I'd remembered they thought I was a new gen killer. It would be suicide to call 110 and call it, hey, can you please come get this severed hand? What should I do? Should I throw it away? But if it was Nanami's, it would be a bad idea to throw it away, right? Honestly, at this point, we should call the cops and be like, hey, can you, like, DNA test this? Whose fucking hand is this? Could you even put severed human hands in the garbage? Was that against the rules? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you should just call the cops in this situation. If you could, would it be burnable garbage? Non-burnable garbage? Are we figuring out whether or not to put it in the recycling bin? Is that what's going on right now? I scratched my head hard. There was no point in thinking about it. For now, I can start by taking another look at the bangle on the wrist and the phone in the hand. I could try and see if they were Nanami's or not. Okay. Hey, we have more view of all our various anime character figurines. Cool. I stood in front of the fridge and grabbed the handle, closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths. The idea of having Rimi come and open it for me crossed my mind. It was tempting, but I quickly discarded it. Even if Rimi was on my side, a human hand in the fridge would freak her out. She might decide to abandon me and turn me over to the police. I had to deal with this myself. Damn it. I grabbed my teeth, took 2 or more deep breaths, and then I pulled hard on the handle. Huh? It wasn't there. I didn't see it at all. Okay, I thought initially like when we thought about the severed hand, we opened our fridge a little bit, looked at it, like, oh shit. And then we closed the door, and then we had our little panic powwow about what to do. And then, but no, we never even bothered. We just remembered, hey, I put it in the fridge. So we were just remembering it was there, but what about the box that it came in? Okay? Well, maybe Shogun came and got it. It wasn't there. I didn't see it at all. I remember putting the hand in there yesterday. It was wrapped in aluminum foil. I put it on the top shelf, but there was no sign of it. The only things in the fridge were a few soda bottles and a few rotting oranges, nothing more. It's gone? How? It had just disappeared. I crouched down and checked the back too. It wasn't there. There wasn't much else in the fridge. There was no way I could miss it. I put it in here yesterday, though. Or maybe I was only telling myself I'd done that, and I just left it where it was the whole time. Is it on the ground? I closed the fridge, looked around my garbage-filled room. The box is gone, too. Maybe some of the packing peanuts. Because we opened it in kind of a hurry, right? Maybe one of the packing peanuts fell down somewhere, and we can find that. The big box with the hand inside. What had I done with it? I thought I remembered throwing it in the corner. I don't know, maybe Shogun snuck into our house after we left in a hurry, and, he's like, well, how'd he beat us there? He has a car! Or, like, the power to fly or teleport or something. Fuck you, Professor X! Xavier, man! What had I done with it? I thought I remembered throwing it into a corner. My memories of last night weren't clear at all. So much had happened yesterday that it overwhelmed my brain. Everything had been so crazy that I hadn't had time to think. Calm down, think. Get things straight in your head. Try to figure out why the hand was there yesterday, suddenly vanished. He broke into my house after I left. And he broke in and put it there. Okay, we made a bullet point list. What could have made the hand vanish from my fridge? 1. I was mistaken. I put it somewhere else where we already looked. 2. I took it outside and threw it away somewhere. We wouldn't have had time. 3. Shogun. That makes sense. 4. The police secretly searched my room and took it. That would also make sense. But I imagine if that were the situation, they would have kept a police escort in my fucking hospital room. The media broke in and took it. Honestly, if the media broke in, they would have taken more. 6. There was never a hand. What, did I just hallucinate the phone and the hand and the bangle and all of it? Like, here's the thing. If I see Nanami with her phone and her bangle, what, did she never lose it? Or did, like, Shogun just politely, hey, here you go, or to sneak it back to her, like to stitch her hand back onto her arm in her sleep? Okay, so the 3 possible things. Well, out of all these options, the only ones I say is possible is either 1, Shogun came back and took it, or B, there was never a hand. Those are the only possibilities. Either Shogun broke back into my fucking house again, or the hand just never existed. I booted on PC's word processor and typed out all the possibilities I could think of. The base had been unlocked since yesterday. Anybody could have come in easily. Shogun had been able to... Certainly, that's how he got in the hand in here. Or was it number 2? We would remember that. My memories of what I had done, I had left go front weren't clear at all. My desire to save Nanami, the images of the severed hand in my head. The fear of Shogun. All those emotions were swirling around in my head. They had filled my brain, way past full. I wasn't thinking clearly at all. It wasn't even possible I had unconsciously taken the hand out of my room and thrown it in the garbage somewhere. It was even possible, or maybe it was just a delusion from the start and never existed to begin with. But when I opened my email software, the message from Shogun was there. All that stuff about the present was just like I remembered it. Shogun had talked about it yesterday too. It was hard to believe it was just my delusion. Could the media and police have taken it? Those guys always look down on a otaku like me and treat us like dirt. They might actually do that. After what happened, I was afraid looking at the internet. But still, I felt like I had to know. I opened my browser. I hit up my usual news sites, starting with the taboo news selection. Airwave jacking psychic is the otaku version of the boy who cried wolf. Great. As expected, there was countless articles about the incident and Scramble Crossing the other day. Airwave jacking psychic is an otaku version. Young new gen boy is psychic power show, and in the worst possible way, as Image K, BTS, TV, All Run Special Earthquake, CM Fuji. Feeds 9. Angry Call soon fled, however. Scramble Crossing was packed. 5,000 fans who booed loudly for over an hour after the event ended with nothing happening. Some fans even started fights with each other, and 13 arrests were made. Then they began a prank email from a self-claimed psychic that we'll be calling Boy N. Okay, so Shogun sent a fucking email. Fuck you, man. His email declared that he would identify the killer. At first, the media was skeptical. However, when Yuri Brightman, isn't he dead? An American psych investigator message claimed to be the boy's backer. TV Today, Mount Fuji. TV's rating were high, both TV 40% mark. Numbers of the course, the wrong suggesting cover boy BN. However, no psychic. He excited the crowd by making it look like he would jump off the building several times, but his performance ended there. Frustrated reporters rushed the roof and attempted to interview the new case. This is a failure. The boy collapsed on the roof. Was in found possession of a cosplay outfit, popular Hollywood movie, as well as the Moe, a so-called Moe anime figurine. Yoshiro Yashiba, a professor at Musei, comment more and more young men these days are trying to be a hero without thinking of the trouble they're causing people around them. Video games and anime probably caused him to lose sight of this distinction of fiction and reality. It drove him to act the way he did. He needs psychological care. The incident will go down one of the stranger events of recent years. I had never emailed the media. I had never seen Yuri Brightman's show. I never met him either. What was going on? Had Shogun set this whole thing up? Well, at this point, given the fact that we are 17, and the fact that a 43-year-old television guy, shouldn't they talk to him? But then again, isn't he dead? Hasn't he been publicly dead for a while? But why? What was he after? He was saying all that weird stuff about a quest. Why would he even bring in the media to put me on TV if he wanted to force me to get the D-sword? I couldn't figure it out. Was there a way for me to get the D-sword? I don't know. What was Shogun trying to accomplish? He'd even let Nanami go. I followed the links, a bunch of quest articles, none of them said anything about Shogun. There was practically no time between the slim body and Shogun. The media showed up. Even if he'd managed to escape somehow, the media must have seen him. There was no way he could get out of there in such a short time, especially since his wheelchair and couldn't walk. I looked down at the at least we let me keep my anime figurine. Of course, the place was an uproar. Comment, post my real name. K, Unishio, Kid, Sume, loser, died of fire, knocked the hell off. We Otaku are gonna get more shit because of you. They found out the fear he's holding. It's Sarah from Bloodtan, ha! Creepy little. Fuck you too. Creepy Otaku, lose everyone in your tears. Nisho Kid, just stay Hikikomori, stick on TV. I mean, that's understandable. Depressing. Nisho Dark will blow you away with the awakened rocket body blow. Already had no one of his classmates last year came. They were all having fun at my expense. They were making fun of me without having any idea how I was feeling. Achan could be really scary when they didn't like you. This had all happened because of Shogun. I thought that maybe Achan could have information about the media reporting, but that didn't seem to be the case. It was worth a try. I couldn't find anywhere that talked about somebody besides me being up on the roof front. It was as if the person named Shogun had never been there. Well, they were probably broadcasting the thing through the fucking cosplay outfit. So, yeah, they were never actually physically there. But then again, there was somebody there to push me. Maybe it was Suwa. Maybe the police detective was secretly there, and he executed me. He's probably the guy working for the underground government corruption people. Like Shido. Maybe what I'd seen hadn't been the real Shogun, but some kind of illusion. Even if Shogun was real, there's no possibility that the figure in the wheelchair was just a hallucination I'd created. Or made by the satellites in the sky. Maybe. Maybe I'm sick after all. Well, no, we're not coughing. So many impossible things are happening. It was like a video game. I still want to actually... Was that a Grand Blue Fantasy character over there? So many possible things were happening. It was like a video game. Maybe there was a world where Nanami was dead and a world where she was alive. Maybe they were both parallel worlds and I get to pick which one I wanted to live in. Maybe the future branched out endlessly like the choices in an H game. I think we only have 9 options. Well, 9 options which were not dead. Maybe. What made me different from the others is that I could see what happened if I picked the bad choice in my delusions. like with Nanami dying and Yasi jumping, or how I'd fallen off the top of O-Front. In other words, all these awful things that seemed to happen to me specifically were just traps my own mind was setting for me. We used the power to determination to use our save point. Yes, Undertale reference. You looked at your sexy anime emotional imaginary support waifu. The emotional support waifu. You looked at your anime figurine. It fills you with a sense of determination. You used your save point. The only question is, are we on the neutral path, the pacifist route, or the genocide route? Part of me wanted to escape from my boring life, where every day was the same, and into an exciting world that was more like that of my video games. My unconscious was just giving that to me in the form of delusions. No, that was impossible. I didn't want anything like that, what I was experiencing. Yeah, honestly, if I was creating something I wanted, there'd be a lot more, well, M-rated things occurring.
っていうかどれだけ
Man,
想像力豊
do I
か
have an
なんだよ
overactive imagination or what? All these ideas I just thought up were just stupid, childish delusions, weren't they? I sighed and leaned back in my chair looking up at the ceiling. It was hard to tell what reality even was. It felt like everything was a lie, and my world was an empty, hollow place. Okay. The 6th New Gen case? Woman found dead next to Shibuya River on the 28th. Cause of death, suffocation after eating her own hand and getting the bone stuck in her throat! What? A woman was found. Is it my doctor? Is it Dr. Hazuki? Is the nurse dead? Was the nurse forced to eat her own hand? What is happening? A woman's body was found at approximately 8 o'clock a.m. today in Shibuya River in Shibuya Ward. The body belonged to 27-year-old Ayame Tokachi, I don't know who that is, who appeared to have died of suffocation. I don't think I know an Ayame. The police investigation revealed that her right hand had been stripped of flesh all the way down to the bone. Okay. And appeared to be human flesh was found in her stomach. Okay, just go to Popeye's Chicken. I feel like this was the wrong way to season your meat, man. They believe the woman had chewed the flesh of her own hand. In addition, her ankles were tied with string. And the police are investigating a potential suicide and potential homicide. Yummy hand. You're calling it yummy hand? Are you fucking kidding me? Why would you call it that? Ever since the intense C5 earthquake in Shibuya, the atmosphere of the town changed for the worse. Crime was way up, and it wasn't just the kids getting into fights anymore. The huge increase in theft, particularly smash and grabs. The media was using the phrase New Gen to inspire feelings of danger, claustrophobia. It had gotten so bad that some stores were shutting down until all was over. Yeah, just get the fuck out of Shibuya. Weekly anti-New Gen protests had suddenly turned to riots. A huge horde of people had descended on Shibuya police station. They had clashed with the police. Over 100 people had been arrested. Just like they had with the Psychic Boy, thousands of people had appeared out of nowhere to watch and enjoy the show. There was a huge, clearly visible difference between people who were visiting Shibuya and those who lived there. The former type was hoping for fun and excitement. The latter were suffering miserably from the lawlessness in the ward and begging for more police crackdowns. And that doesn't make things worse. The 6 New Gen incident, of course, they hadn't caught the killer. Well, at least we know it's not me. I was in the hospital. I can't kill people from a hospital bed. A week had passed since the earthquake, sometime the past few days. School sent me notice that I was suspended. It's understandable. Even if I hadn't been suspended, I was in a mental state where I could go to class, so it worked out. Everything works out, right? Have we seen our sister once? Like, I understand not wanting to see her the day of, maybe, like we're freaking paying. I don't even we still should have. But I think we should have gone to go see her. Another New Gen incident happened the day after the earthquake. Just like Dr. Takashita's death, it was clearly intended as a message for me. A woman who had chewed off her own right hand. It was to be a reminder of how Nanami's right hand had been severed. Even if that hadn't happened, Nanami was just Shogun screwing me. The thought that he could have been killing The thought that she could have been killed like that was terrifying. Besides that, I was now famous in a bad way, and terrified of leaving the house. That's understandable. If I had the option of ever going to live in a cave somewhere, I would have taken it. Why has Remy not visited us during this whole time? Honestly, I would say in this situation, her parents would be like, no, I forbid you from seeing the crazy person. Which honestly would be very sensible. Even going to the convenience store to get food was painful. Some days I'd eat nothing at all. I couldn't walk, my head held up while I was outside. It always felt like somebody was laughing at me. I was scared of other people looking at me. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Some people from the media came by several times, but I ignored all of them. I hadn't called home or to talk to Nanami. I even quit ESO for the time being. If somehow somebody found out that I was Nightheart, that would just be awful. A week. Was that enough time for things to calm down, or not enough? There used to be a saying that rumors usually last for 75 days, but that was a long time ago. Trends change incredibly fast now. Popular phrases would be completely forgotten by the following year. Slang that everybody used online would be dead and forgotten in months. Every day, the TV was in search of heroes, idols, and villains to consume and then discard. Even with the new gen, by the time of the sixth murder, Achao nearly wasn't excited they'd been during the first. Everything disappeared from people's memories so fast. I hope that, like other trends, fads, I have to go pee. Okay, I hope, like those other trends and fads, which had happened a week ago, had faded completely from people's minds. It was overly optimistic, but I couldn't help but hope anyway. My head and stomach hurt. I sat down on my usual bench to calm myself down. I knew exactly what Sarah Tim would say if I asked her.
そんなに苦しむぐらいならもう学校になんか行くのやめればいいっしょ
If it hurts that much to go to school, then just don't go. I was starting to think she'd be right. I heard a lot of those students were starting to stay home because of how bad the crime in Shibuya was getting. And I'd always said it never really mattered if I graduated. I was willing to drop out of school right now, actually. But still, I was going to school anyway, even if it meant potentially running into Yua. I gulped down the soda I bought from your vending machine and stood up from the bench. It was time to stop lying to myself. I didn't want to go to school, but I didn't want to drop out either. If I did. Okay, so we were just suspended for a few days. I'd never see Remy again. Well, right now, since we were classmates, I could see her whenever I went to school, but if we lost that connection. Of course, I could call her or go see her directly, but that required active effort on my part, which wouldn't happen. An active effort like that was beyond me, too. But we tried to call her. And in fact, I hadn't seen Remy in a long time.
私が一緒にいてあげる
I'll be there for you. That's what she promised me, but she hadn't contacted me in over 10 days. Maybe she'd been seeing me embarrass herself on TV and decided she never wanted to talk to me again. The thought made me so scared, so sad, and so lonely. I mean, honestly, who could blame her? Nobody, not even Nanami, came to see me. The internet was saying the most horrible things about me, and you and Shogun were still out there waiting for me. I said I didn't want to talk to anybody, but the loneliness was killing me. I wanted Remy to come see me. I wanted her to hold me gently and tell me she was there for me. I was probably relying on her too much, but it was her fault. The one who taught me how warm 3D girls could be was Remy. Once I'd known that warmth, I wanted to experience it again and again. That's only normal. The peace it had given me was something I couldn't get from 2D or delusions anymore. Delusions weren't enough to keep me going. I needed to see Remy. When I got to school, nothing much seemed to have changed. In fact, nobody noticed me. I went inside up the stairs, past by a girl I'd never met, who gave me a gasp and a look of pity. When I got to the hallway outside my class, where several of the windows were broken, I could hear whispers and see people openly gawking at me. I had a bad feeling. My optimistic hopes that had forgotten about me were utterly dashed. Still, I opened the door, desperate to see Remy. There was silence for 10 seconds. Everybody was staring at me, and then they were frozen perfectly still. Great! I calmly walked to my seat and sat down. Can we just do homeschool from this point on? A deacon-looking boy in the last row, I didn't know his name, was the first to speak. Hey, Nisho, show me your psychic powers, would you? Well, yeah, we're fucked. The rest of the class suddenly unfroze. It's kind of a mean thing to say, right? What? But Yuri Brightman said he was a real thing. Well, then take that up with Yuri Brightman. That's right, so I'm to you, the fake psychic, right? These shows are fake too, right? All he did was stand there with a big doll and a little doll in his hand. What do you mean a big doll? What do you mean a big doll? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, but Ishio's sick. Just leave him alone. But he can fly, right? Oh, and what else? He can see stuff? Oh no, what if he uses his powers on me? He'll look through my clothes and see me naked. Nisho, you're a pervert, okay. Oh no, he's looking at his look right before he turns you to stone. Don't worry, he's just a loser otaku, technically. Well. Great. Oh no. This is what I've been most afraid of. The deacons that made me their targets. Not a single person forgot what happened a week ago. Oh, Japan's most famous living a joke. The boy who told the world he had psychic powers only to pass out holding an anime figurine. There was no point in telling them I wasn't psychic. The truth didn't even matter anymore. The whole country had already had their own story about what the truth was, and it was shared by tens of millions of people. Nobody could change it now. Not nobody. Not me, not the media, not even Shogun. I was the fake, self-proclaimed psychic with mental problems. I was the loser otaku creep. Nobody in the world was on my side. I hated how TV always made fun of otaku, but now I personally had done something to damage otaku culture's reputation. I didn't have any psychic powers. I couldn't fly. I didn't have supernatural sight. I didn't have telepathy. I couldn't get the D-sword. Yeah, was it even possible? Like, is there another path I could have picked? Like, was I supposed to pick a no when I picked a yes? Because half the other options I picked resulted in me dying. I was just a failure, a boy who had given up on trying to save his sister. I was just an otaku who knew about games and anime and nothing else. I was helpless to change any of this. I looked around for Remy, trying to keep my mind from breaking down right then and there. Well, you still exist. Somehow I met Mitsumihi quickly. Well, you hate me. Okay. Cool. Then again, weren't you, like, cheering on Ayase to kill herself? He turned away from me. Okay. Of course that's what he'd do. If he was friends with me, he'd be an outcast from the class. Yeah, of course. It's the most natural thing to do in the world. Yeah. That's perfectly understandable. A taco like me and a handsome boy like him live in totally different worlds. It was honestly strange we'd been friends at all. I looked around trying not to cry, desperately searching for Remy. But she wasn't here. Remy wasn't here. Why? Why was she not here today? Today of all days. Now I had no way of contacting her. If she never came back to the classroom, I'd never be able to see her again. Maybe she's dead. That's how I felt. Maybe there was an earthquake. That's how I'd been when she appeared, too. One day she was suddenly here, and now she was suddenly gone. Could it be that she was caught up in the earthquake and killed? Yep, she's dead now. I tried as hard as I could to push the negative thoughts from my mind, but it didn't work. I started feeling more and more depressed. Gloomy, dark delusions were filling my heart. Did girl Rimi Sakahara even exist? Was it possible that she was like Saratan, a personality I created my own delusions? It would make a lot of sense if that was the case. She was always just there when I needed her. She was always kind to me, even though I was such a loser. Could somebody like that, my ideal 3D girl, always there when I needed her, really exist? Nope. I didn't have any reason to come to school anymore. My one reason had disappeared. I was alone after all. I had been alone the whole time. I cried inside my heart. I just barely managed to avoid crying in the real world too. My pride wouldn't allow it. It was a tiny, worthless pride, but it existed. Slumped down, gritting my teeth. It was all I could do not to fall out of my chair. I could hear my classmates talking, even though I didn't want to. I wanted to run away, but I was too scared. Running might only attract even more attention. I wish all of them to just die. If I didn't have anything left to lose, then maybe I should just end my life doing what I wanted. I tried killing them all in my brain to see if it would make me feel better, but it didn't. It wasn't enough to avenge my humiliation. They were still looking at me too, taunting me with voices so loud they echoed throughout the entire class.
お前なんで死なないの
Hey, why haven't you killed yourself?
生きてんのきつくね
Isn't it hard being alive?
俺ら手伝ってやろうか
Want us to help you? I will explode you with my mind. Akira powers activate. Ah, fuck. Great. You know, on the one hand, it's nostalgic. On the other hand, it's not good nostalgia. I put my hands tight over my ears and tried my best to endure their taunts. I wanted to kill them. I wanted to murder them all with my D-sword. Imagine the blades splitting open their heads, ripping out their hearts, and splitting their bodies in two. Perfectly understandable. Die. 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 Die in all caps. I didn't have a D-sword, but I could buy a big kitchen knife anywhere. I wanted to stamp out their worthless maggot lives myself. And the more I thought about it, the stronger the desire became. The instant I did something that crazy, maybe the world would be reset. Then the world my brain was showing me now, where I'd made a wrong choice and gotten onto the bad route, would end. Yeah, I've been actually thinking about that. Like, did we go in the bad route? Like, did I somehow pick something wrong where we could have, like, saved Nanami and jumped out and got the giant sword? And then I'd go back to my old world. Rimi would be there, Misu would still talk to me, everyone would forget how I embarrassed myself, no one would make fun of me, I'd have a giant 2-story long sword, and a big dick, and like 20 cars, and wings that I could fly, and I could shoot kamehamehas. Maybe I should try it. My head was starting to feel fuzzy, and I was having trouble concentrating. Maybe I had a fever. Was my head overheating from thinking too much, or from too many delusions? I didn't know if you could do that. Well, we'll find out. Well, whatever. Maybe I should try it. Maybe I couldn't go back to my own world. They'd just think I was crazy. No, they already thought that. If I had nothing left to lose, then did it even really matter? A week ago, when the nurse had told me Nanami was alive, I thought that was all I needed. I thought that if Nanami was alive, nothing else mattered. My life didn't matter. I didn't care if they thought I was crazy and sent me to the hospital. I hoped it was the same hospital as Yase. Where did she end up anyway? That prison-like hospital she had supposedly been in before? Even that would be preferable. It'd be at least a little better than being at school without Rimi. The impulse to do something awful was boiling up, like magma, and I was losing my capacity to control it. Okay, we're at almost 2 hours. Again, perfectly understandable emotions given the people being jerks. I think that's how everybody feels in that usual situation, right? That's normal feelings. I think, who else relates? I slowly stood up. Well, that laugh is slightly concerning. The laughter started bubbling up, and I couldn't stop it. The whole class was staring at me, their expressions frozen on their faces. Don't look at me. I'm not worth looking at. You are. Hello? And suddenly, you are worth it. I heard.
Huh?
Hello? A girl's voice. You're worth a whole lot. Okay. And it sounded like an anime girl too. When that girl tried to jump off the roof, you stopped her. So, you're worth a whole lot. Are my 100 waifu anime figurines now all talking in my head? Again, this music sounds like the underground lake for Mysteria Flower in, I think, Chapter 3 of Brave Fence Musashi. Best game ever made from PS1. Who was that? Who was speaking to me? I looked around the classroom again. Everyone was still frozen silent at my strange behavior. I couldn't see anyone speaking. Anyway, that voice, it felt strange, like it was coming from directly inside my head. Was I hearing things, or had I created another girl in my delusions? You aren't hearing things, Nora. Nora? What does Nora mean? And it's not a delusion either. Huh? What was that? There was an answer to what I just thought. Were they reading my mind? No, it must be a delusion after all. Kozupii is right here.
コズピーってなんだよ。
What the hell is a Kozupii?
ここってどこ？
Where is
誰
here?
なの？
Who are you? I yelled. My classmates frantically ran to get away from me. It's not true at all that you're worthless, Nishijo. Not at all. There was no answer to my question. The strange voice was continuing. Actually, it's the rest of the class, the ones who are being so mean to you. They're worthless. The sudden silence has me concerned. I know my character was, feeling that way toward people. Heck, that's an understandable feeling. I got bullied a whole lot in school too. But I never hurt anybody. I'm a kind of person that I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. I'd rather just live a peaceful life. But why do I feel like we're about to materialize a Shinigami Bankai Lieutenant Kenpachi, whatever her name is, that's Kenpachi's Bankai, and all my classmates are going to suddenly explode? Why do I get the feeling that this is going to start becoming like an Elfen Lied episode, and everyone's just going to start like becoming, including Masumi, who betrayed and abandoned me? Then again, I didn't really want to be his friend anyway, because, well, he was cheering, but then again, he's also getting mind controlled to a degree. There's probably a backpack dude, Porter man over there, making everyone kind of crazy. And I think even Ayase was going to be mind controlled to do the shit in the first place. So, is everyone going to explode? Or like ninjas going to come out of the ceiling? They're worthless. I shivered. The voice kept talking in aperture tone, and this was the next thing it said. It's not true at all. It's not true at all that you're worthless, Nishijo. Not at all. Actually, it's the rest of the class, the ones being so mean to you. They're worthless. I shivered. The voice kept talking in that happy, chipper tone, and this was the next thing it said. I think it's a great idea, Nora. Is Nora a word I'm supposed to understand? Was that the same person? Are there multiple anime girls talking to themselves, to each other in my head? What is Nora supposed to mean in this circumstance? Go ahead and kill them all. Okay, so are the voices in my head telling me to kill them, or are the voices in my head to suddenly have psychic powers become materialized and suddenly start killing them without me having. So even if I tell them to say, no, don't stop, don't kill them. Yes, I was angry at them, but they don't actually deserve to die. That's going too far. Like Willy Wonka. No, please, don't. Don't, no, come back, no. Everyone's like, that's an outdated Gene Roddenberry reference. He was a great actor, okay? He did a lot of cool movies. Go ahead and kill them all. Please, stop it. I sat back down in my chair, leaning forward, my head in my hands. Go ahead and kill them all. Okay. Parallel world. The world didn't reset. I didn't go back to a parallel world with Remy in it. Instead, it looked like I'd gone totally insane. Okay. When Bond came back to Frisia's office for the first time in a week, things looked a little different. Piles of papers on the desk were nowhere to be seen. They probably all... Is she dead? They probably all fallen under the earthquake, and Mimosi had ordered them cleaned up. The place looked... I didn't get a chance to read that. Ordered them cleaned up. The place looks a lot nicer now, actually. Is she dead? Is Mimosi dead? Ban sighed and sat down on a chair. He dragged from one of the desks. He waved his fan in front of his face. He's exhausted. Okay, she's alive. Mimosi was in front of him, typing on the laptop. She looked the glue on his face and toward her brow. What is it? You haven't been here more than a minute and you're already sighing. Hey, Momo? You ever seen a magic trick where somebody makes a sword appear from thin air? No? I don't know a lot about magic tricks. What about somebody who just disappears? You mean like into a box or something? No? No, not like that. What are you even talking about? Trying to learn a new party trick? No, don't worry about it. It's probably got nothing to do with anything. You're really acting strange today. Mostly shrugging. Popped the sweet Kozupii cake that Bond had brought her into the mountain. Here, have some tea. Sua brought over 2 paper cups. Steam was pouring off the green tea within them. Oh, thank you, Sua. Sorry to make you bring the tea. Mio's out with a cold. No, it's fine. He gave her a brilliant smile as he handed the cups to her and Bond. Sua had come here before, when he and Bond were working on a different case. Ever since then, he looked up to Mose as his teacher. More than that, he looked up to his partner, Bond. Mose seemed to like the young, hard-working Sua, and wasn't as harsh to him as he was with Bond. Anyway, what were you talking about? I was asking her what kind of party tricks the girls down the stations would like. Ha! I'd like to know that too. Sua, you need to find a way to cut ties with this old user. I recommend you find a more talented partner. You're never going to get promoted otherwise. You're making it sound like I've got no hope of being promoted myself. Am I wrong? If you don't like that, then actually try doing your job. I am, though. Bond seemed unsatisfied. Mose ignored him and offered Sua the box of Kinsuaba cakes. Here, Sua, have one. Oh, thanks. Just so we're clear, I bought those with my own money. Thank you very much, then. As Sua reached for a Kinsuaba cake, Bond let out another sigh. Anyway, you two, look at this. Okay. The laptop was showing a line graph. The line graph was a wave, slowly going up and down. Sua walked around behind Bond and looked up and down the screen, confused. What's this a graph of? It shows the GA rate for Shibuya over the past year. See anything strange? You were the one who told me that Shibuya's average GA rate was one of the highest in the world. Not that. I may just be imagining things, but it feels to me like somebody is manipulating the GA rate. Is that possible? I don't know. But the way the value change feels unnatural. It's changing too much in too short a time. I looked back over the past decade, and it's been like this for about 5 years. Who was that guy, Dr. Uda? The stuff he was saying about how the rate's been going up in the past 6 months. Does that have anything to do with it? Dr. Uda's research showed that the G rate shouldn't be experiencing these small constant changes. So, something unusual is going on, and you think somebody is doing it deliberately. But it's been going on for 5 years, right? And at that point, it's not unusual, it's normal.
もう一つあるの。
There's one more
グ
thing.
ラフを細かく
If
調べ
you
てい
look
くと、
at the graph
G
in
レート
even
は
more detail,
毎週末
you'll see that the G
伸びる
rate
傾向にあるん
goes
だよ。
up every weekend.
週休2日の
Must
サ
be
ラリーマン
pretty
にはあり
nice
がたいこと
for
だ
those salarymen who have
俺
got
には
2
関
days
係
a
ねえ
week
けど
off, not me though.
あ
Man, I wish we got Saturdays and Sundays off. I haven't had a day off in 2 months. Mose shook her head a little at the two detectives while both suddenly got gloomy looks
茶
on
化
their
してる
faces.
場合じゃないわ。
Stop joking, this is important.
一
We're
週
seeing
間
regular
で
fluctuations
定
on
期
a
的に変
weekly
動してる
basis.
のよ。
And what's
しかも
more, the fluctuations
年末
stop
年始
dead
や
on
お
New
盆
Year's
休みなんかは
and during the long
変動
Oban
がピタリ
vacations
と
in August.
何かの意志が
That
働いている
means
と
there's
しか
some
思えない。
mind, some will behind this.
年末年始や
Only
お盆
humans
休みは
take New Year's and
人
Oban
間
off.
だけど動物や植物はそんなものは
Plants and animals don't.
実は
Maybe it's the will of Mother Earth.
地球
The
の
will of Mother
意
Earth, that's
志
certainly escalated
だが
things. But even if it was, do you think Mother Earth wishes people a Happy New Year?
冗談
I was joking.
年末年始はともかく
New Year's is a global
お盆
holiday,
休みは日
but
本にしかない
only the
風習よ
Japanese
ね。
take vacations during Oban.
日本人の
So
社会
it's linked really tightly with Japanese social customs.
渋谷っすから
That's what you'd expect to see in Shibuya, though, right?
ちなみに、こ
Now,
こと、
look here and
こ
here.
こ、見て。
Mostly pointing to a spot in the middle of the graph, and then another at the very right. The latter was the last day's
こ
show.
の2箇所はすごく
See how high it
伸びてるでし
raised on these two spots?
一番右
The one on the far right seems to be the highest number for the year.
ょ。1年どころか、
Not
こ
just
の
the
10
year,
年で最高よ
the。past decade.
日付は
What's the date?
真ん中は3ヶ月
The
前。
one in the middle 3 months ago? You remember that day? There was a small earthquake,
い
right?
や震度3で
That
なぜか
earthquake killed
8
8
人
people,
が
right?
あの犠牲者
They never did find out what killed them, did they?
さあ
I don't remember. Is that right? Mostly ignored the two detectives and continued.
で、
Now,
一番右
the
は
one on the far
この
right
間
was
の
the
地震の
quake
日。
the other day.
お
I see.
あの日、
You remember
大規模な
them
電磁波
talking
が
at the
発
big
生したの
electronic
は
post
知って
they
る
did
わよね。
yesterday?
渋谷中の
Supposedly, it
コンピュー
blew
ター
up
が
half the
壊れた
computers in Shibuya. I'm not a digital person, so I don't really understand that stuff, though.
自分も
My
自宅の
laptop at
ノーパソ
home
がやられ
broke.
たっす
I haven't had time to fix it.
あれは地震の影響で
They're saying the
電
pulse
磁
was
波が
caused
起
by
きた
the
って
quake,
言われてる
but
け
it
ど、
might be the exact
電
opposite.
磁波の影
The
響
quake,
で
the pulse
地
caused the
震
quake.
が起き
That is, the pulse created the
おい
earthquake. Hey now, the
韓
TV
国
shows
テレ
and
ビ
papers
新聞
didn't
じゃ
say
言ってな
anything
かったぞ
about that, did they?
あくまで私の推
I
測
don't
だ
have
け
any
ど、
proof of this yet,
この2つの地
but I
震
think that these last two quakes
天災じ
were
ゃなくて
artificially caused.
震災
They
かもって
weren't
思う。
natural.
だって、
Neither of them made any sense.
前の地震では
If you're standing
震
up,
度3
you
とい
might
う
not
規
even
模
feel an
で
intensity 3 earthquake.
8人
And
も
yet
亡くなってるし、
someone killed 8 people.
そして今回は震度
This last one had
118
NC5 quake that somehow killed 818 people.
死に
So you're really saying the number of fatalities doesn't make
さっ
sense.
きバンちゃん言ったでしょ
Remember what you just said.
亡く
We
なった
don't
方
know
の
what
大半は
caused most of the
死
deaths.
因が不明。
So it's like this. The earthquake didn't cause the pulse. The pulse caused the earthquake, and it wasn't the earthquake that killed the people. It was the effects of the electromagnetic pulse. Because while technically computers are more sensitive to that stuff too, I mean, I don't know the exact specifics how much electromagnetic pulse and what concentrations would, kill or even cause long-term effects in a person. Hell, one could say, what about the low intensity effects of, say, your cell phones, TVs, radios, computers, over time, over decades? What effect does that have on humans or just animals and plants? Remember what you said, we don't even know what caused most of
そん
the
なの
deaths.
尋常
That's
じゃ
not
ないよ。
normal at all.
まあ
Well,
確か
that's true.
それに、
And then there
空
are
が
those
白く
rumors
染ま
about
っ
the
た
sky
ってい
turning
う
white.
そういえば
Now that you mention it, the media stopped mentioning those
マス
altogether.
コミに
Somebody
何
pressured
ら
them,
かの
made
圧
them
力
stop
がかかる
talking
ね。
about it. No.
まさか
So I'm still wondering if you're actually that guy in the underground government thing. Are you actually... Is Suwa Shogun? The Mua
おそ
party?
らくそうよ。
Probably yes. Yeah? You're serious.
明和党
We might want to look into companies or groups connected.
もうやったわよ。
Already done.
さすがも
That's my Momo, always quick on the draw.
で
So, Mosa raised up her hand, stretched and tilted her head a little. You could hear the sound of her neck popping. She's gonna be the next new gen murderer. Nothing, a dead end.
お手上
A
げ
dead end? Come on,
や
Momo.
っぱももちゃんさん
Does that mean your theory was
そう
wrong?
かもしれないわね
It。might actually.
これでも結構時
I
間
spent a
が
lot
欲
of
しか
time
った
on
の
it
よ
too.
ほんの
Time I
そ
should
っ
have
ちの
spent
け
on
ね
paying work.
でも行き詰まっちゃったわ。
But I hit a dead end. Either
よ
it's
ほど
extremely
巧妙
well
に
hidden,
隠されている
or
か
like Sua said, I was simply
スワちゃん
mistaken.
の言う
When a cop runs a situation like this, there's an iron rule. Approach the problem from a different angle.
先輩
Do you have any ideas? Bond stopped waving himself with his fan and licked his lip. Who do you think would benefit if the G rate went up on the weekends? I don't know. The strange voice had stopped, but I couldn't take being in the classroom anymore. I stayed in the bathroom for hours until afternoon classes were over. The only reason I didn't go straight home was that I was still hopeful I might see Remy. So after school ended and everyone got home, I went back into the empty classroom. Remy was waiting there. She turned to me and smiled.
石どこ行ってたの？待ってたんだよ。
Snap, where have you been? I've been waiting for you. Oh,
一緒に帰ろっか、タク。
let's walk home together, Taku. Okay, so this was just our hope. Nobody was there, but nobody came. I thought maybe she'd be there to say that to me. I hope maybe somehow that would happen. But, empty room. The classroom was empty. Nobody was waiting for me. But nobody came. I tried going to the courtyard, but nobody came. This is where Rumi had said she'd be with me. But nobody came. But nobody was here. Nothing moved but the lonely purple blooms in the flower beds, which swayed in the cold autumn wind. I took out the red handkerchief in my bag. It was one Remy had given me. I tried sniffing it, but the floral smell was gone. Maybe it disappeared when I'd washed it the one time. Yeah, that's how washing works. I had the handkerchief, but the scent was gone. I had the memories, but Remy was gone. I was out here wishing to meet a girl who maybe only existed in my
な
head.
んて
I was wandering the school after class was
なん
over.
て救いようがないんだ
I'm so pathetic.
僕って
With a girl's handkerchief up against my lips. I was so creepy I wanted to throw up. I mean, people of both genders can have handkerchiefs. I left the school and started to wander around the facility with no real goal in mind. I just stopped caring about everything. I wasn't even worried that Shogun and Mila might find me anymore. If anything, I was hoping they'd just kill me, preferably in a way that wasn't painful. I mean, yeah, pain sucks. My mood was one of complete depression. That's understandable. That's kind of just normal, right? And seeing the way Central Shibuya looked right now only made me feel worse. Nobody had a smile on their face. Everybody was glaring at the people around me. It felt like a fight could break out at any minute. Just by walking around, I could see that some of the shops would normally bust with customers had actually lowered their shutters all the way. I couldn't be sure, but it looked like there was fewer cars, too. Even the loud TVs in the front of stations were silent. Instead, there was a distant howling of police sirens, angry horns, and screeching tires. There were no traces of the mess I'd caused last week. Even if it wasn't gone from individual memories, maybe it had long since vanished from the memories of the town. I wish I could forget the memories myself. To know nothing, to be ignorant, to be stupid. That must be really nice.
無知は罪だ。
Ignorance
知ら
is
ない方が
a
幸せ
sin.
なこともあるという
Some
人間もい
people
る。
say
そん
it's
なのただの
bliss,
名前だ。
but they're naive. That's what Sen has said. What's wrong with being naive? I wasn't that strong. I was always looking for someone else to help me. I couldn't do anything on my own. I didn't want to do anything. I stood in the middle of the street and closed my eyes. My biggest problem right now was I knew some things, but not everything. I knew about things like Shogun and the D-Sword, things I didn't even want to know. But if somebody asked me what they were, I couldn't explain. I didn't have the answers. Maybe I should just die, I thought to myself as I looked up at the Front. If you die, are your memories reset so you can play again? Tell me, person controlling me. Your role-playing has failed completely this game. You leveled up all the wrong stats for your character. You should have made him more like a hero. Somebody who was social and outgoing, kind to women, a friend to the weak, and a foe to the strong. Somebody with a sense of justice, who could choose between right and wrong. You won't be able to beat the last boss with me. You won't be able to beat the game. Don't have any hopes for me. Reset the game. Please, I'm worthless. Delete me. But I wasn't deleted. Instead, somebody slammed into my
Oi.
shoulder.
邪魔なんだよ
Hey, you're in the way. I thought I was hallucinating again. This morning I had hallucination of a girl's voice, so that it was a man's voice, maybe. Nobody wanted to hear a man's voice. Give me something at Moe. Nobody wanted to hear a man's voice. Give me something Moe, something hot. And then have her whisper naughty things into my ear. And I'll get a boner, even though I'm in the middle of town. Odd laugh that I don't know how to fucking
無
do.
視してんじゃねえぞ
Don't ignore. Is that Bond's voice? Is that Bond? I think that's Bond's voice. Don't ignore it. Is that you, Bond?
西条だな。
Is that Suwa? Hey, you're Nishijo, aren't you?
どうなんだ
Am I wrong? You fake psychic? Okay, you guys aren't sounding very nice to
この
me.
前テレビ出てた
You're on TV,
わ
right? You must have gotten a ton of money for it, didn't you?
ちょっと顔貸せよ
Why don't you come with me for a little psychic? I opened my eyes. There were 3 men surrounding me. They were all wearing baggy clothes. They had gold, silver, and brown hair. 2 of them had piercings in their ears and nose. 1 just had piercings in their ears. They were stereotypical thugs, dressed like something you had seen years ago. If anything, they belonged in a museum. Well, there's the death flag. Or was this another thing where I was experiencing the bad route that had come after I made the wrong choice? The bad stuff just kept coming. Well, there's the death flag. I don't even care anymore. Just kill me, so I can just reset and be born. Be reborn. Do you have a knife on you or something? When you stab me, make sure I die instantly, okay? I mean, if you're gonna do it right. I was so scared my knees were shaking. Help. I shouted out of pure instinct. It was closer to a scream to a shout, but I didn't care. Okay, why am I saying that? Somebody help me. I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I lied when I said I didn't care. I know things are bad, but I don't want to die.
うっせんだよ
Shut up. One put a hand over my mouth so I couldn't scream, and then the other 2 grabbed my arms.
騒ぐと殺す
Make
ぞ
another noise, and we'll kill you. I stopped resisting. They took me an empty alleyway. As they grinned at me, I decided to launch a preemptive attack. Please don't. That's not. Please don't hurt me. I got down on my knees and begged in a shaky voice. I'll give you all the money I have. So please, just let me go. I offered them my wallet. One of the deacons snatched it out of my hands.
へえ
Well, you're rich, aren't you?
金持ちだな
I guess psychics make the
さ
big
すが
bucks, huh?
町の
Okay. I imagine Santa's just gonna show up with a giant fucking sword and be like Nishijo, why don't you have your sword yet? You're supposed to have a 30-foot long fucking buster sword that shoots lasers.
お前いいやつじゃん
You're a nice guy, aren't you?
俺気に入っ
I
ちゃっ
like
た
you.
よ
I let out a sigh of relief as I kneeled on the ground. It looked like they were going to let me
俺らの
go.
仲間に入れてやる
Tell you
よ
what, you can join our
入会
gang.
金は100
The
万
initiation
円な
fee is 1,000,000 yen. It's
これ
mandatory.
強制
Normally I'd have you pay right here,
本
but
当はすぐ
I'll wait
払
till
ってもらう
tonight.
とまあ
Tell you
なん
what,
か超能力
if you can
使
show
っ
us
て
some
みせて
psychic
くれたら
powers, I'll give you
半
half
額に
off.
してやって
なんか言えよ
Say something, why don't you?
超能力見
I
せろ
said show
っつって
us
んだよ
some psychic powers.
できねえの
Or maybe you can't.
できねえのかって
I asked if you can or not. I felt a sharp pain in my side. I might have broken a rib. I couldn't breathe. I was passing out. I was feeling dizzy. Then I saw the foot of DQ in front of me. It was coming toward my face at incredible speed. What happened? Did we get knocked out? I felt like it was an incredible pain in my face, but maybe it was an illusion. I tried to open my eyes. My eyelids would move. The darkness would
だ
go away.
よもう伸びたのか
Is he out
どう
already?
するこのくらいにし
What
と
do we
く
do? Leave him?
もうちょっと痛みつけといた
We
方
should
がいいん
probably
じゃね
rough him up a little more,
あ
right?
のダーススパイダーの兄
That's
ちゃん
what the
も
guy in the Darth
So
Spider outfit wanted, right?
ボコボコにしてくれ
Yeah,
って
he
言
wanted
って
us to
た
kick his ass. Seriously, why are you dressing up as Darth Vader, Spider-Man? Yeah, he wanted us to kick his
こい
ass.
つボコるだけで
He must
金く
really
れる
hate
なん
this
て
kid if he's willing
よ
to
っぽ
pay
ど
us
こいつのこと
just to
嫌い
beat
な
him
のかも
up.
なリ
Again, it's gonna be really fucked up. We're actually the Darth Spider thing, which then we paid people to kick our own asses. Like really, fucking hell, man.
というわけなんで
All right,
続きまー
let's
す
get back to it.
俺らのこと恨まないでね
Don't blame us for this, okay? You know, I'm hoping the serial killer guy who paid you guys to do this kills you after you beat the crap out of me and takes his money back. I want to kill you. I'm sorry. I want to kill you. Okay.
おい
Hey, what's the
何
hell's
こ
going
っち狂
on?
ってんだよ
What are you
ふ
doing?
ざけんなよ なんだそれ なんだ
What is that? Hey!
よせ
Stop!
やめろ
Okay, so is it Remy with a giant sword? Is it Kozupii in like an attack helicopter?
やめて
Stop!
Yeah,
No! I don't know if they're dying or just getting their ass kicked really hard. That sounds concerning. Hello? Hello? The weak light of the setting sun was pouring through the window of the hospital room. The color of the sunset split the room cleanly between the light and the shadow. Inside the light was a bed with pure white sheets, a portable gaming system sitting by the pillow, rows of academic books sitting on a shelf, light pink Cosmo flowers sitting on a vase, golden flowers named Flowey. I'm Flowey the flower. The room was neat and organized, nothing moved. It was a room where time had stopped. Near the window, where sunlight shone through, there was someone small sitting in a wheelchair. His back was to the window, he wasn't moving. His breathing was so gentle and deep you'd wonder if he might be dead. His skin was wrinkled, his cheeks caved in. Okay. His eyes sank deep into his skull. He had no hair at all on his head. What is this, Dr. Seuss? Looking at him, it was unclear if he was a boy or an old man. It's like, what do you mean, Dr. Seuss? It was kind of rhyming, like poetry. The shadow of the one who called himself Shogun stretched all the way to the room's door. For the first time the world moved, the door slowly opened, and someone came in from the dark hallway, the evening light. Hi. Rimi Sakahara stood at the entrance of the room. She didn't come in any further. Okay. The setting sun illuminated her face, revealing the tension in her expression.
やめよう。
Let's just forget about all of this, okay?
残念だけど、
I'm sorry, but
あの彼は
that boy talking to me,
一
Nishijo,
条匠は消すべきだよ。 That boy. You should just get rid of him. Okay. Shogun didn't respond to her words at all.
どうして？
Why?
危険だから。
Because he's dangerous? There was a sadness and pain in her voice. She may not have realized it, but there were tears in her eyes.
私が
Want me to get rid of him myself?
ダメだよ。
No.
私が消そうか。
Remy couldn't tell if his lips were even
彼
moving.
にはやってもらわなくちゃいけないことが
There's
ある。
something I need him to do. Remy's head slumped forward. Her hair fell forward along with it, and she brushed it back with her
例え
fingers.
ば、あなたは夢に見たことを
For
覚えてい
example.
られる？
Can you remember what happens in your dreams? Yeah,
そっか。
I see.
私、すぐ
I
忘
always
れちゃ
forget
う
right
な
away.
できる人と
Some people
できない
can,
人がいる。
and some people can't.
できる人はきっと
I'm sure the people who can
ロマンチストなんだ
are
ね。
very romantic and sensitive.
すごく長い
I have long, long
長い夢
dreams
を
all
よ
the
く見る
time.
よ。見ている間は
They seem to go on for
何人
years while
も
I'm
感じ
dreaming
られ
them.
る。
私もそうだった。
I was the same.
そうだった。
I think I was anyway.
でも、
But
それは幻。
they're not real.
実際の時間としては、寝ているうちのほんの
Dreams
2、
only
3
last for a
秒
few
程度
seconds
の
in
も
real
のなんだ
time,
って。
they say.
夢って心の歌方。
They appear and disappear within your mind, like bubbles on the surface of the
だから
water. So,
早く目覚めて。
wake up soon.
でないと
If you
い
don't,
つか
someday,
あなたは西条匠に殺されちゃう。
Takumi Nishijo is going to kill you.
それでも構わないよ。
I wouldn't mind.
夢から覚めるわけに
I
い
can't
か
wake
な
up
い
from this dream.
この夢は
I need to see
完
it
結させ
through.
なくちゃ。
Are we all stuck in a virtual reality world?
完結した夢の後には何が残るの？
After a dream's over, what's left? Someone softly shook my shoulders. It was very hesitant shaking. After the one time, they quickly pulled away. Someone was peering in my face. At least, that's what it felt like. I was slowly beginning to wake up. As I did, the pain came back to me. Something stunk. Bad. It was strong, raw scent. The scent of blood. The air around my upper lip stung. There was a metallic taste all throughout my mouth. I slowly opened my eyes. Hi! Did you save me? Did you kill them? I was in the alley I'd been in a moment ago. I was lying face down on the asphalt. Right in front of me was a pool of dark brown water that looked like it had dripped out of a garbage bag. I winced at the awful stench and stood up. My whole body ached. The air around my face hurt the most. It was hot and stinging. Someone had brought a lighter right close to my face. There was a girl leaning down right next to me, looking at me like she was about to cry. It was the transfer student, the girl who transferred to my class. What was her name again? Uehara, Orihara? What was she doing here? She offered me something. My wallet? Why did she have it? I looked around, still feeling woozy. The 3 DQNs have been hassling laying on the ground, covered in blood. Well, I guess we should probably wake them up to get them to the hospital. What the hell had happened here? They'd gotten the crap kicked out of them? All their faces were so smashed in, I could barely recognize them. Does that mean they're dead? Are they dead? Are they breathing? I mean, they're unconscious. Are they... Were they dead? They weren't moving at all. Was this the 7th New Gen incident? Who could have done this? Was it me? Did I do it? Did you do it? I don't blame you. I've used a magic weapon. I guess there's no evidence. Let's just get... You want to get some Dairy Queen? Dairy Queen? Dairy Queen! The transfer student stood up and beckoned to me, her face pale. She kept looking at me, then the 3 men on the ground, tears forming in the corner of her eyes. And then suddenly she grabbed my hand and started to run. When we got out to the main street, she finally let go. We hadn't run that far, but she was already exhausted. Oh, did you use your magical super sword to do that? We both fell silently. Maybe she was like me and not really good at talking to other people. No, that didn't matter right now. What was going on here? Those deacons picked a fight with me. We were beating up. I must have passed out. I wonder how long I was laying there. Ugh. About 5 minutes, Nora. How would you know if I'm unconscious? You're in my head. You should also be unconscious. What? There it is again. I was hearing it again. I thought that maybe somebody I knew close was talking to me, but I couldn't see anybody else around. Crap. Why was I suddenly hearing things? You're not hearing things. Am I hearing you? Are you talking into my head? Okay, so you're telepathically talking to me. Okay. May my brain have been pushed so close to the brink that I had to make another personality to survive? Maybe I did have personalities like you have said. Kozupii is really Kozupii, Nora. I'm a different person than you. I'd heard once before that normally different personalities couldn't communicate with each other. Maybe I was the exception? Kozupii isn't you. I was getting so tired of this. Was I eventually going to start hearing the voices of other personalities too? Besides, this obnoxious Kozupii one? How many personalities were inside me anyway? I had read it in some book that there was a patient with 24 personalities in one America. Is that a reference to the movie Split by M. Night Shyamalan? Is this a, what is that guy's name?
Shit. He also does Professor X, the younger version. He's a really good actor. But yeah, there's a movie called Split. But he made some interesting faces in the movie. I think like they could use that as for a custom mod for the Binding of Isaac for that one boss, the Beast fight. But yeah, that's a fucking movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Wait a minute. There was someone like that. Wait. So, this is... It's not... Oh, I'd read in some book there's some patient there like that in America. So this is... taking place in the same universe as that guy. I'll probably have to look up the name and put it in the title of the video. And what was more, I didn't even know if my personalities were if my personality was the primary one. A different personality might be the actual owner talking to Nishio's body. Hey, if you're using telepathy to talk to me, Kozupii, this is what you have to deal with telepathy. Sometimes you're inside a mind that's like, oh god, what have I stepped into? And it's like, yeah, you didn't expect this, did you? As I stood there in shock, the transfer stood and poked me. As she did, she tried to whisper something to me, but she seemed to fail. Instead, she nervously raised her hand. Kozupii is Kozupii, Nora. Okay, so you're nervous about actually talking, but you primarily use telepathy. Is your actual physical voice damaged in some way? Huh? Kozupii is Kozupii. This is adorable. This is adorable. This is I don't know if moe is the right word. Moe is, I mean, it's still really cute, but I don't know the right word. I'm just saying I feel very pleased with the cutesy. I don't know the correct word for this. Everyone's like, the correct word is you're a creepy loser otaku. I'm like, okay, fine, fair. Also, Kozupi's name isn't transfer student. Also, Kozupi's name isn't transfer student. It's Kozue Orihara. Is Nora like saying baka? Wait a minute. Everyone's like, wait, what are you connecting? We already established telepathy. Here's the thing. If Kozupii is the telepathy voice, that is, everyone's like, what, you're concerned about someone having telepathy? No. I'm concerned to the fact that, I mean, obviously it was nice that she was talking to me in the classroom. Here's the thing. One, thank you, Kozupii, Kozue Orihara, for being sweet and supportive and saying that, I wasn't worthless. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. I really needed that. But it also means that you were trying to actively encourage me to kill all of them. Unless you were just joking with me, but at that point, I'm mentally unstable, so I don't know if that's a good way to joke. Was it a good way to diffuse things? I mean, it worked. I mean, technically, we're also a little concerned about this stuff we saw about Remy, but technically, we don't know about that. Only Lunar knows about that, but still. I'm gonna look that up real quick. My phone's off, so we'll wait a moment for turn back on. But I'll just go to Google. That way I can look that one thing up. Google. My phone's loaded, but let me put password. Okay, Split actor. James McAvoy. Yeah, so it was a James McAvoy reference. About 3 hours. But still, this is so cute.
コズピーがコズピーなの。
Everyone's like, would you date Kozupii? Yes. But there's also the concern of this. You were the voice in my head telling me to kill everyone. You were like, yeah, you should kill them. Yeah, totally. Do it. I'm like, so. But then again, isn't everyone in this game actually killing people? I don't know. Kozue Orihara. I vaguely remembered hearing the name a long time ago from Izumi. Kozue, Kozupii. No way. So you're sending this voice directly inside my head. She nodded again and again as hard as she could. That probably would have been really, really cute and adorable. Why didn't you animate that? This would probably make a really cool anime. She nodded again and again as hard as she could. Telepathy?
仕組みはよくわかんないのら。
I don't know how it works,
でもできるの。
but I can do it. That's impossible. So this voice was actually coming from the girl in front of me.
西条くん。
Are you
大丈夫？
okay, Nishijo? I got hit really hard. And my pride. Ah! My pride! Trying to make a Vegeta joke. Her head was still slumped forward, but her eyes were turned up at me. She pointed her finger at my face. It was shaking.
たらりって出てる。
You're dripping. I touched my face. The area of my nose was wet. My nose had been bleeding. Did I break my nose? That sucks. Check out a pack of tissues from her pocket. Thank you. I used it to wipe away the blood, feeling really creeped out. The transfer soon. But that being said, since Shogun and Rimi are having conversations that the player is able to see, we at least know they are real. Masumi might not be real, but then again, since the achievements said there's like a Masumi ending or something, then I guess he must be real. Maybe Bon's not real. Bon, are you real? Is Nanami real? Is my family real? Is anime real? The transfer student.
ピーだよ。
It's Kozupii, okay? Kozupii's mouth wasn't moving. She wasn't speaking, so how could I hear?
心の声なのら。
It's the voice of my heart. Well, that's adorable. Stop ending your sentences like that. It's weird when 3D girls do it. Wow.
ごめん。
So sorry. Wait, you can hear my thoughts
聞
too?
こえるよ。
I can?
普通に話さないな。
Why don't you talk normally?
恥ずかしいし。
I'm embarrassed. I see. I understood how that felt. I was the same way. Her gaze suddenly started back and forth like a little animal before glancing at me and walking off toward the station on her own. What is happening?
離れた方がいいと思う。
You should get away from here. Okay, are we walking together? Why? I followed, confused. As I walked, I realized something. There was a stabbing pain in my side. Each step I took ached so much I had to stop. Held my side and took a moment to catch my breath. There were so many people here I hurried to Shibuya. It felt like everybody I passed was laughing at me. I felt like everybody was looking at me. It started to feel like everybody knew who I was. Don't look at me. Don't laugh at me. I need to reset somewhere without a lot of people around.
ほいじゃ。
I know just the place. I am concerned. Okay, you are aware of what's going on in my head. You're like, I know just the place. Okay, obviously you must mean just for me to place for me to calm down from social anxiety, not kill myself.
ご案内します。
Let me show you. You had the same musical tone when you were saying to kill people. I only met Kozupii a few times at school, but now she was a completely different person. And even though in the real world she was completely silent, her mind she was...
わあ、今
You just thought I was annoying. You just thought I was annoying, didn't you? It was convenient to be able to talk to somebody mentally, but it was also obnoxious. Hey, wait a second. How did this even work? Was it real psychic power?
やっぱりコズピーのこと気味悪い。
You think Kozupi's creepy, don't you? Actually, I didn't think that. I was thinking more so, are you okay being in my mind? There was a lot of hentai there.
こんなの普通じゃないし。
I know this isn't normal. The fact that it's not normal doesn't really bother me. I've met a lot of weird people lately. And you might talk funny, but you're not scary or crazy. So you're a lot better than some of them.
そう言ってもらえるとうるうるってなっちゃうのら。
Saying that makes my eyes tear up. Okay, I don't know if it's happiness tears. Like, are you saying you're crying out of happiness because I'm saying that you're more normal than everyone else I've encountered, or what? Kozui suddenly started to cry as she walked. Surprised, I handed back the tissues. I don't know if they're happy tears or sad tears. She wiped her eyes with one of them, giving me a bow that was deeper than it needed to be. So, anyway, having to read all my thoughts is creepy and uncomfortable too. That's my honest
そうだ
opinion.
よね。
Yeah.
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry.
でも。
But, I hear people's thoughts,
聞こえちゃう
even when I don't want to.
にゃ。
Okay, I mean, you don't have control over it. Is that true?
そうなの。
It's true. Well, I'm sure you don't want to hear that from a creepy otaku like me, of course. I'm a creepy loser and totally worthless.
そんなことない。
I mean, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but, you know, you're wrong. Everyone's like, are we talking about Nishijo or about Lunar? I'm like, is there a fucking difference? Just as I was starting to get back into depression mode, I heard Kozupii shout in my
ダ
mind.
メだよ。そんなことを言っちゃ。
What, the truth? Don't say that stuff.
そんな悲しいこと。
It's so sad. Doesn't make it any less true. She started crying again. Why are you crying? Are you pitying me? If so, then you don't need to do that. I'm such a weirdo I make up girls in my mind and pretend they're real like Rimi.
それって咲畑さんじゃなかった。
You mean
咲畑さんの子。
Sakihara? You know her?
だってクラスメートだよ。
She's in our class.
西条くんの。
She's your girlfriend. Is she? I mean, one, granted I didn't see the scene of her and Shogun, but she's offering to kill me. Also, if she was my girlfriend, we would be actually doing things. No, she's not.
あ、違うの？
She's not?
てっきりそうだとばっかり
I was so sure she was. I wasn't even sure she was real. Only the player character knows. Lunar knows she's real because she's talking to a serial killer offering to fucking kill me. Kozupii knew Rimi. That can only mean one thing. Rimi was real. Rimi wasn't a delusion. She wasn't somebody I invented in my head. She was a real person. Oh. Phew. But then, why wouldn't she make any effort to contact me? Maybe she'd given up on me after a friend?
咲畑さん、地震があったあの日。
Sakihara got really somewhere the day of the earthquake and left school early.
それ以来。
She hasn't been back to school since then.
もしかして。
Maybe
何か
something sad happened
ことがあった。
to her family? Oh. Felt so much better knowing that Rimi hadn't given up on me after all. Made me feel like I was really going to cry. I had a reason to go to school again. I wanted to see Rimi until she came back. I would keep forcing myself to go to school every day.
気をつけてね。
Be careful, okay? Huh?
西条くんが。
I didn't say anything because
って思ってたから
I thought she was your girlfriend.
けど
But
けど
But
咲畑さんには
You should be careful around Sakihata. What does that mean?
先畑さんは
I don't really
よく
understand
わかんない
her.
のら
What does that mean, though? What is she? You don't understand her? Is she the only person whose mind you can't read? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me, hey, she is real. I remember her, but she's like the only person I can't read her mind. You mean the crucified murder? Or are you talking about how all my memories of her being classmates since first year were missing? She was still missed. Are you reading my surface level thoughts? Are you reading these mid-level thoughts, which is what's happening right now? Or are you reading my deeper thoughts, which is like, you know, my memories of stuff that I'm not even thinking about at the moment? She was still missing her a lot of ways, sure, but she'd been there for me so many times that when I was scared, she offered to be by my side. She wasn't my enemy. Hello? What, did you see the flashback of me looking at the crucified murder thing? With Sakihata covered in blood? Yeah, for some reason Kozupii looked dizzy. Are you okay?
一度にいっぱい考えられる
You think all those thoughts at once. I'm sorry! My mind jumps all over the place. I normally don't have someone else following along. But since you are, maybe you can like help me like remember what we're talking about.
コズピーついていきにゃい
Kozupii can't keep up. Sorry. It's kind of strange. When I was talking to people, I always had trouble getting out even a fifth of what I was trying to say. But talking like this meant I'd have to work on not thinking too much. It was probably the same for Kozupii. I didn't think she'd talk so much in her mind.
喋ってる
It
っていう
doesn't really feel like I'm talking though.
薄いよ考えてるだけ
It's just
それが流れ込むだけ
thinking and listening.
相手にはビビー
I go
って
beep beep
相手からは
and they go boop boop. I just want to hug you.
慣れてないと
If you're not used to it, your thoughts and their thoughts get mixed up, and then you go, yeah, please to speak Japanese, thanks. Press 2. I mean, I kind of get the nuance, but I guess she meant that there are none of the more subtle points of conversation, and you never have to worry about being too scared about the other person would think, and not being able to say what you wanted to say. You couldn't try to read the room if every single person thought you had was being shared. It wasn't one-way communication, but maybe it wasn't two-way communication either. Maybe it was like trying to focus on one of a million things at once and ignoring the
だか
rest.
ら
And so,
だから
it's easy, and you feel really close to people,
距離感も
but
近いけど傷つくことも簡単なの
it's easy to get hurt. She frowned for a moment, then an expression appeared on her face that was halfway between a smile and a sob.
西条くんは初めてなのに
It's your first time, Nisho, but you're really good at this.
コズピーと
Yay! Positive reinforcement! Yay! It's like everyone's like, why does Lunar require praise? I just really like hearing nice things, okay? It's like, why don't you get more of that in real life? I'm like, just gonna take a nap. Just go back to bed. Kozupii and you have the same beep beep beep. Beep beep beep. Huh? Maybe she was saying we were on the same wavelength. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm enjoying this. Yep, wavelength. That's right. Well, I was always having similar conversation in my head with the Saratan. Maybe that was why. Oh, but
あの時の西条くんは
you were really scary then, Nishijo.
コズピ
How so? Also, Upi? What does that sound supposed to be? It's adorable, but I don't know what it means.
ーあの時の西条くんは怖かったのコピ
I don't know what that means, but it sounds very kawaii. Then,
ー今日の朝教室
this morning, in the classroom, weren't you telling me to kill them? Crap. Come to think of it, I'd heard some really weird, nasty delusions. So I went, Fya, and actually decided
だったのら
to talk to you. I was like, fuck it, I'll talk to him. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you did. I was probably going to start killing people. I was not having a good time. I appreciate the emotional support. Thank you. I would hug you if I felt that you would be okay with it. But in this situation, you can read my mind, so if you're okay with it, let me know you're okay with it. Or just hug me yourself. You know, you could do that. You could initiate. You could just give me a hug.
You could ask me to give you a hug. You could tell me to give you a hug. You know, you can initiate. You can say, or even telepathically, like, just let me know. Just, like, I'm not a mind reader. You are. So, you know, use it. You can give me a hug if you want. Lunar D8, the man who wants 1,000 hugs every day, pretty much. It's like, oh, it's a game about a creepy loser otaku. It's either we're talking about Nishijo or Lunar. Not that there's any fucking difference. Then again, I called part 1 of this video Lunar D8 Simulator. And so far, I have not been wrong. So I went Fia and actually decided to talk to you, Nora. What does Nora mean? Usually I try to make sure that nobody finds out about my power. No, I was kind of in a bad place then. And well, it was just a delusion, haha. Yeah, most people would find that disgusting, huh? If you'd actually done any of that stuff, Kozupii would have killed you. Huh? The gap between her tone and her words made me shiver. We walked through Center Street silently, talking to each other in our minds, and headed out to Inukashira Street. If you didn't know the truth, you might think from the way we were talking along silently that without really looking at each other, that we were a couple that had just started dating. I mean, technically, in a way, that's not too far off. That being said, did you kill those 3 guys in the alley? Also, why were you, like, egging me on to do it? Little confusey-faced here about what's going on. But then again, I've also gotten the opposite remarks on that, like, you know, people criticizing that you should do that stuff. And it's like, great, thanks for the mixed messages. All I really know is no matter what I possibly do or no matter what I possibly say, everyone hates me. It's like, okay, cool. So at that point, what's it really fucking matter? If no matter what I do, no matter what I say, everybody fucking hates me and decides to treat me like shit, then what's the fucking matter? I'll just do what I think is right. Because at that point, it's not an issue of right or wrong. It's just an issue of me doing what I think is right or wrong. It doesn't fucking matter how other people think or feel about it. I'd rather do my own way of just trying to be a good person. For my own sake. Just because I want to. That's the thing. I still think it's a dumb idea for people to not, say, do a bad thing because they're worried about some sort of consequence or what people think or some bullshit. I think you should, you know, not do the bad thing because it's a bad thing. Because, oh, you'd feel bad. You know, your conscience and shit. It's like, but then that's that recurring joke. Like, what's a conscience? Someone who hates you, but can't do anything about it. I'm trying to be funny and make the fictional viewer laugh. Then again, if I think I have any viewers watching this, then I really am delusional. Okay. Oh, right, you can read my thoughts. Are you embarrassed? Are you yandere? Do you like the thought that I had? Do you dislike the thought I had? Were you just surprised and not really sure and hadn't really given it any thought? But obviously you heard me talking about, oh, we'd probably look like a couple. Kozupii let out a gasp next to me. Her eyes went wide as she looked up at me. A couple? No, it was just hypothetical. You made me go fwa again. I thought you were telling me you were in love with me. I'm sorry I can't control my mind. So sorry. It's hard when somebody can hear your every thought. It was probably best to keep my delusions to a minimum when talking to Kozupii. I want to ask about when you were on the TV last week. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. You don't know that. Sounds so... I just want to give her a hug. Not necessarily in a romantic way, but just in a platonic way. But also in a romantic way, because she's also really cute. So in both ways. Both is just a friendship. Oh, she's so cute. As also in a... sexy, adorable... That's a weird mix. It's like the mix of... One, she's very quiet and adorable, and like you want to give her a hug, just as like an adorable, like platonic way. But you also want to hug her in a romantic way. I think that's how most relationships work, right? I don't know. People out there that give hugs to people they think are cute, that they do have an attraction to. How would you describe your thought process when hugging people? And everyone's going to be like, normal people don't think about that shit, Lunar. I'm like, well, I spend a lot of time alone, so. Yay, Nishijo is the Lunar D8 simulation. Yay. Kozupii was down there below you that night. Really? Below? The scramble crossing in front of the turnstiles. Jeez, I was passing through right when it happened. I could hear a voice the whole time. It was your voice. It said, I want to save Nanami. I have to save her. I heard it. My thoughts carried that far. Huh, what's like the distance, like my radio transmitter of my brain? There was a pretty big distance between the roof, though, front and the turnstile station. Your feelings were just that strong. So, you would know then. You know I wasn't up there pretending to be psychic for attention. Yeah. So, you're not worthless. Huh? What? But in the end, I failed. I chose to save my own life instead of saving hers. I ran away at the last second. Minute. Kozupii stopped right in front of the Roth building. She pointed the entrance as she looked at me. This was evidently a place she wanted to take me. Roth was a store that sold cosmetics, kitchenware, and little knickknacks. I couldn't imagine there being any place to rest there. It was a cramped space, filled with people. My legs were shaking. The cheers and angry yells I'd heard that night in the Scramble Crossing started to echo in my head. I didn't want to go anywhere near with so many people. If I went inside the Roth, there'd be nowhere to run. It'll be okay. On the one hand, I don't think I would mind having a partner that can read my mind. But one, I don't really trust anybody to, like... I mean, I've not had very good human interactions. People have turned, well, abusive, so... But assuming that I had a partner that wasn't psychotic, I wouldn't mind them being able to read my mind. It's just a question of, would they be okay with dealing with all the constant, insanity? At least it's mostly just, I'm sad, I want to go back to bed, sort of thing. She ignored my fear and headed inside. I had no choice but to quickly follow, trying my best not to look at the people around me. When we got up the escalator, Kozupii turned around to look at me. She was a step above me, but she was so tiny that we were at the same height. Nanami's safe, though, right? If she is, it's because of you. I mean, the nurse told me my sister was safe, but I don't know if it was my sister, and I haven't gone to see her because apparently I'm too scared to go talk to my parents, which are probably all dead. It's probably like that one episode of that one anime where the one guy has a delusion that his parents are still alive, but they've actually been dead for years. So, like, they're not cleaning up the house because they think their parents are doing it, but their parents are dead. And so there's lots of dirt and stuff, like, piling up everywhere as no one's cleaned the house in years because no one's even swept. So there's, like, dust piling up on the ground in the hallways because it's like a wooden floor. And it looks like he lives in an abandoned house because he's not cleaning because he thinks his parents are doing it. Even though they've been dead for years. So we don't know. I don't know if any of my family's actually alive. it's because of you. I hadn't been the one to save her. I hadn't really done
屋
anything.
上から
You were reaching out off the roof, weren't you?
何をしようとしたの
What were you trying to do?
ビョーンって
Were you
飛ぼう
trying
としたの
to
かな
hop off and fly? No, I was trying to get a sword. It was made out of delusions, and I could kind of see it from up on the roof.
ディソード
A D sword? Yeah, that's right. They said if I stretched out my hand, I could grab it, but it didn't work.
なんで
How? I suddenly shouted aloud. A couple on down the escalator opposite us glared at me, and I quickly put my hands over my mouth. Kozupii, how did you know about the D swords?
コズピーも持ってる
Kozupii has one too. Huh? We got off the escalator at the 5th floor. Kozupii casually raised her right hand above her head. It was just like she was trying to block out the brightness of the sun. I mean, technically, we saw her holding a fucking sword at the start of the class. I mean, what? Did we already forget that? I mean, I know a lot's been going on, but still. So the light appeared in the midair next to her hand. No, it wasn't a light. It was a line. You could say it looked like a wire frame. Rays of light overlapped in what had a moment ago been empty space, forming something that looked like a snowboard. But then rays of blue light, brighter than the rays of the fire frame, streamed out of it. Kozumi closed her open her hand. It's like a shield sword. What had been a wire frame instead became a heavy, cold slab of metal. Like someone had pasted textures on it.
ディソード
A D sword. It looked completely different than the ones Ayase and Senna had, but had the same kind of intensity about it. It was far too malevolent to be a simple board, and far too unadorned to be a sword. It combined an innocent ferocity with a destructive beauty, and she held it above her like it weighed nothing at all. Is that why Rimi wants me to die? Because she saw that my fucking sword was like 20 feet long? Like, holy shit. Like, when Shogun's like, looking up from distance, like, oh my god. Yes, I knew I believed in you for a reason. And I'm like, dude, you could believe in me in a nicer way. That's not on the fucking skyscraper. I don't like heights. The thing was too big to be swinging around indoors. There were other people around her, too. If she hurt someone, it could be really bad. Watching her holding it made me feel like I was going to have a heart attack. Whether she knew of my worries or not, Kozumi lowered the blade from above her head and began to spin. She looked like she was having a time of
こ
her
れが
life.
コズピーの剣だよ
This is Kozumi's sword, okay?
悪い人を
It
やっ
beats up the bad people, Nora. Beats up the bad people? Something about her words made my heart start beating faster. Something was wrong. That's when I remembered the smell of blood. I remember how I had seen the deacons laying in the puddles of their own blood. Are they dead?
あんなひどいことする人たちは
Anybody who do something so mean deserves to die. Okay, 1. Did you actually kill them? Either way, thank you for saving me. And honestly, I can't say I'm going to lose any sleep over you killing them. I'm just kind of curious. 2. I mean, were you going to kill my classmates? Again, I don't think I'd lose sleep over that. But, same time, thank you for telling me I'm not worthless, even though technically you're lying to me. But you mean well, so thank you. So, I appreciate the kind words, Kozupii. So they were dead after all.
あんなひどいことする人たちは死んで当然だよ。プンプン。
I mean, technically, I agree with you. But also, if I had superpowers, I probably wouldn't bring myself to be able to actually hurt others in real life, even if I had superpowers. And then more likely, I'd probably try to persist that way for a while until, like, some sort of, like, World War II Holocaust sort of thing sort of happened. Or just people on the side of the street, like with you, like, where, like, people are just beating the shit out of an innocent person, and I'm just saying this. I'm not a saint, and I do have strong emotions. I certainly don't judge or condemn or condone any of people doing things, but at the same time, I feel like if I had superpowers, like, if I had superpowers and immortality, and you're like, oh, immortality because you like to be like scared of being kind of like getting hurt. Like, no, more like anything on a long enough timeline becomes a definite. I'm just saying, on the one hand, I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't want to hurt anybody, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure under the right emotional circumstances, it would not be hard to push me to fucking fight back if I had to. I mean, on the one hand, I'm a person who wants to be very pacifist. On the other hand, I do have very strong emotions, very strong beliefs, and a very strong sense of justice. But I also tend to just avoid all that and just stay home and take naps. Because I just don't want to be involved in anything. I just want to just relax and just go outside and walk on bike trails and look at clouds and stuff. Either way, thank you. Thank you, Kozupii, for saving my life. Thank you, even if they weren't going to kill me, thank you either way. I appreciate it. I mean, I was thinking angry thoughts myself toward them. I'm just not really sure about my own feelings on a lot of things. And there's a lot going on, Kozupii. So yeah, I don't know. So they were dead after all. Nope. So you didn't kill them?
生きてる価値もないけど、あんな
Not that
時
they're
々
worth
な
keeping
人たち
alive,
は
though. Those roachy roach people. Roachy roach?
ゴキブリ
Cockroaches. Yeah, I just never heard him say roachy roach before. So
殺したかったな
I wish I could have killed them. I could tell exactly how her heart was feeling when she said these words. There wasn't any malice inside her. As far as she was concerned, she was just giving bad people what they deserved, and there was nothing wrong with that at all.
最近
I mean,
渋谷はな
technically true, but also mixed feelings. Shibuya's been even more dangerous than usual lately.
昨日も
Yesterday, a bunch of roachy roach people tried to kidnap me. Really? So I went kerthwack, kerthwack, right in their faces. I shouldn't laugh at that, but I am. I don't know why the image of her swinging the sword like it's fucking Bayonetta made me laugh. She might be twisted, too, in a different way than me. Aren't we all?
こっちです
Nishijo, this way. Well, I mean, at the very least, at least you understand me, not just because you can read my mind, but, hey, we're both fucked in the head. But, in the nice way, I guess? Then again, maybe I'm just giving you the benefit of the doubt because you're so cute and adorable. In both a platonic and romantic way. Kozupii started walking again, carrying the huge D sword in her hands. Everyone's like, would you date a short person? Yes. I would date a short person. I would also date a tall person. If I met a really cute 4-foot tall person, I would date her. If I met a really cute 8-foot tall person, I would date her. Were you just imagining Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 8, but as a cute moe sort of personality like me? Mihoshi from Tenchi Muyo. And you're imagining her as Futa as well. Okay. I mean, both the girl in the imagination and on the screen both have big swords. So, she was tiny with thin arms. She looked so weak, and yet she didn't seem to struggle at all for a heavy-looking weapon. Many times the blade came close to slamming into a shelf or nearby shelf, and each time I covered my eyes. Miraculously, it didn't hurt anyone. We ended up in a stairwell. It was dimly lit, and unlike the rest of the floor we were on, there was nobody here at all. Nobody came by either. It was shocking to me that just 5 minutes from Shibuya Station, just inside a rock building, one of the most famous stores in Japan, there was a space that could be this empty.
ロフトだけじゃないの
It's not just Roft.
デパートの階段
Nobody ever uses the stairs in a department store. Yeah, I mean, usually use the escalators, I guess. I lived in Shibuya most years, and I didn't know that. How has she figured out in just a few weeks?
コズピーは
Kozupi's been walking around Shibuya ever since she came to Tokyo.
それで見つけたの。
That's how I found this place. It's my own little rest stop. Kozupi sat down the steps, clearly in a good mood. She casually set the D-sword down next to her. The pain in my side was getting too much. I probably broke a rib. So I decided to take a rest.
それでそれで
And so,
景色とか模様とか
when you look at the patterns and scenery and stuff, do they ever look like something different?
ゾウさんとかウサギさんとか
Like
ライオンさんと
elephants?
か
Or rabbits? Or lions? Of course they do, but that's normal. Everyone does that.
一番って思ったのは
The one that made me go, whoa, the most was when I saw a Japanese giant salamander. What was she talking about?
理想度の話
About
です
the
よ
D-sword.
ブー
Ubo.
何かの模様とか
Say, you're looking at a
景色とか見
pattern.
ると動物さ
Say,
ん
you're
と
looking at a
か
pattern
いろん
or
な
a scenery,
形に見
something
える
you'll
ことがあって
see animals or other shapes. Oh, that? Yeah, I've seen that before. I tried to see something like that on top of the old front building and succeeded. I'd seen the D-sword blend with scenery.
はい、
Yep,
ピンポンです。
that's right.
コズピーが最初に見
The
え
first
た
time
時は
Kozupii saw it
ハム
was
ポン
when
ポンが死んじゃった時
Hampon died. Okay, is it your grandma or something? By the way, are you also working for Shogun? Is it that they're like, okay, we went for the extreme fucking harsh bullshit of the building to try to make him pull out the D sword? It didn't quite work. But at least, so like maybe we need to try a more calm approach with this. You know, it's just like maybe we need to like go with a more comfortable. Like what would be more comfortable for him? It's like, well, there's this really cute, sexy, adorable moe girl. You know, maybe that'd be a more comfortable way for him to find superpowers, right? Wonder if Kozupii would be like, no, I'm not working for a person that's killing people. I'm like, everyone is. The stairwell. Okay. Pon pon
小
pon.
学生の時
The hamster I had in elementary school.
これで
Ha-
ポンポンのお墓を作ってあげよう
Hamtaro.
って
Little hamsters, big adventures. It's Hamtaro time. You guys ever watch Overlord, the anime? It's a really good anime. Einzulgon manga. I wanted to make a grave for him, so I went out to the riverbank.
でも
But I forgot my shovel,
お墓作れ
and
な
I
くて
couldn't dig his grave. So I
泣い
went
てい
so
た
I
ら
went and cried a lot.
お空に
And then I
こ
saw
の
the shape
形が
of
見
the
えた
sword in the sky.
それからは
After that,
いろんなところで
I
よく
started to
見
see
るよ
it
う
a
にな
lot
った
in
のだ
places. How did you get it, though? I found it, but I couldn't grab it. No matter how much I reached out, I couldn't touch it or grab it. I
願っ
just
たんだよ
wished. Wish? You wished to get the sword? But I did that too. Kozumi looked up at me, softly shaking her
違
head.
うの
Nope.
願っ
Nope.
たのはね
My wish
殺してやりたいっていうこと
was to kill. I don't know. What is the expression that she is making supposed to mean? Like, I understand it's sheepish embarrassment, but everyone's like, why did you fucking slur that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm getting old. But yeah, sheepish embarrassment. Wow, apparently you just can't talk then. I still think it'd be interesting. Like I'm wanting to learn German and Japanese, but I'm having the weirdest fucking accents when I do. Just because when I learn German, I'm mostly learning it from like Rammstein, Till Lindemann, German metal bands, E.S. Nomine, E.S. Posthumous, that's Latin, E. Nomine, and Ice Brecher, but mainly Rammstein, Till Lindemann, German metal bands. So I'm going to be trying to sound like Till, fucking death metal, like fucking industrial metal, synthesize metal. Basically, I'm sound like a metal band. Basically, my German accent's going to be my best attempt at trying to sound like Till Lindemann. And my Japanese accent I'm basically going to have is because I'm basically learning Japanese, basing it off Japanese anime girls. So my German accent's going to be me doing my best impression of Till Linderman, and my Japanese accent's going to be my best impression of a cute anime girl. Everyone's like, just say the joke. It's like, I'm going to be saying fucking German lifting weights in the gym, and then I'm going to be at home with a fucking anime figuring, jerking off while talking to myself dirty in Japanese. Huh? I could hear the voice of her mind clearly through my own. I hadn't mistaken it. I heard exactly what she said. At least she's being honest with me. My wish was to kill. She said it with a smile, too. The stairs leading up to the 5th floor of the Roth building to its 6th floor were very quiet. You only faintly hear the music coming down. So does that mean I was going to materialize my sword in the fucking school building? Were you trying to egg me on to make the sword? But then you said you were going to kill me if I did that. So I'm getting mixed messages. I'm not sure what you want from me, Kozupii. I haven't seen your name in long enough. I already forgot how to say it. She didn't say a word, neither did I. I could hear somebody's breath loud in my ears. Was it hers? No, it was mine. A staircase where nobody came. A blind spot in the dead center of Shibuya, an air pocket. I gulped down saliva to wet down my suddenly parched throat. I wished, and then looked way up into the sky. And I could see the sword. But I didn't think it was a sword. Until then, I just thought it was kind of a big clanging thing. Did you not know what a sword was? I wondered if I could kill them if I went bang with it. And I reached out my hand, and I really was able to. Where was this? When was this? Who did you bang to death with the sword? At what age? And then, what happened? What did you do? I tried to kill them, but I couldn't. Kozupii wasn't strong enough to do more than half kill them. I mean, that's probably for the best. Either way, I was kind of worried that maybe like you had killed people and you were like having PTSD over it, and I didn't like at that point. Do I hug you to try to console you? I mean, it's not even a romantic thing at that point or an adorable thing. It's more like I feel bad for you, and I mean, it's not like the whole I'm pitying you. It's more like I want to be supportive of you because here's the thing. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I'd say win. If anyway, I really, really appreciate emotional support and someone, having my side and being there for me on that stuff. So, when given the opportunity, I try to be reciprocal. I'm just saying, if I was in your position, I'd really want someone to give me a hug and reassure me that I'm okay. So, in that situation, I'm basically doing for you what I would want somebody else to do for me if I were in your position. This girl was broken. Yeah, but that's... I mean, it takes one to know, Nishijo. And Nishijo's like, yeah, it takes one to know one, Lunar. I'm like, yeah. Fuck you too, man. I'm not broken. Huh. I've got the sword right here. She was gazing lovingly at the sword next to her. I could tell from the way she was looking at it that she had complete trust in it. Her mind was telling me the same thing. Maybe I couldn't get the D-sword unless I was broken, too. Wait, did this mean I wasn't broken already? Hello? I used to think the sword was so scary. That's what she thought until she came to Tokyo. But now she felt differently. Now it was something precious, something very important to her. As long as she had the sword, there was nothing to be scared of. The sword would protect her. The sword was her heart. It was her other self. It was about 3 weeks ago that she had changed her mind. Kozue had always had the power to hear what other people were thinking. She couldn't remember anymore when she'd first realized she had it. She thought she'd gone crazy, or that she was sick. In her own childish way, she thought that she couldn't let anybody find out. She hadn't told anybody, not even her parents. Because of her power, She couldn't make any friends. It created a rift between her and her family, too. All the people around her started to think she was creepy, that her intuition was a little too good. Even after coming to Shibuya, she had been scared to go to school. She hadn't wanted to talk to anybody. She'd thought that they'd just find her creepy. Oh my fucking god. Find her creepy. One, why are you limping that one day to school? Wait, were you just constantly crying because Mishima was thinking lewd thoughts about you? I mean, at that point, I was looking at your panties while you were at the stairs while wobbling. I don't even know what's happening at this point. The first day, she was supposed to go to school. And the day after that, and even after that, she had skipped school and spent the day wandering around Shibuya instead. She knew the school must have contacted her parents. They must have known Kozui wasn't going. But the two of them didn't say anything to her at all. Kozui looked young enough to be mistaken for a middle schooler, and yet, unlike back at home in the countryside, nobody stopped her when she was out in the middle of the day. She had spent days wandering around Shibuya. She had found her own little peaceful spot in the raft stairwell. And every day she'd go there and sit. One day she spent almost 4 hours there until the sun finally began to set, and then she left Rock to go home. Raindrops were pouring from the dull gray sky. She hadn't brought an umbrella, but she was neither looked up at the sky nor seemed to care about getting it. She simply headed home through the rain, unsteady feet. Then she saw something in the corner of her eye. It was a sign that read, "The end is near." I've seen that guy so many times now. He looks like a 36-year-old version of Nishijo. Then again, Shogun looks like a fucking 900-year-old version of Nishijo with super cancer. The end is near. The handwritten text was blurred in the rain. Holding the board was a homeless man sitting unobtrusively on the side of the road in the middle of the pouring rain. His head was slumped forward, and she couldn't see his expression. He might have been dead. The way he looked reminded her how she had looked sitting in the rough stairwell. She stopped. For a moment, she hesitated. She never met this man and never even seen a homeless person until she came to Tokyo. He looked repulsive. She was scared that if she talked to him, something horrible might happen to her, but then there was another desire that won out over fear, a desire to kill him. It was such a sudden, strong impulse that she thought if she obeyed it, she might be able to kill herself too. Wait, I think we kind of glossed over something. That if she obeyed it, she might be able to kill herself too. Well, that implies that you were thinking about other things of a certain ideation for a while. So after a short moment's hesitation, she spoke to him with a voice in her mind.
世界は終わるの?
Is the world going to end? Suddenly his shoulders twitched. He wasn't dead after all. He slowly raised his head. His cloudy eyes peered through his sotere as he looked up at her. Yeah,
終わるよ
it's going to end. Kozui's eyes went a little wide with surprise. Not at being told that the world would end, but the fact that the man had replied to her. She hadn't expected a reply. Most people she spoke to like this either tried to convince themselves they were hearing things, or got scared and quickly left. Even if she did succeed in communicating with somebody, it was hard for them to send back such a straightforward, understandable reply. Doing so was difficult. Human thought was disordered and random. But the man hadn't seemed surprised at all. Instead, he'd given her a short, simple answer. Through his voice, she could feel a deep sadness filling his heart. His heart was crying. That's how it felt to her.
君は剣を持っているね
You have a sword, don't you?
どうしてわかるの?
How do you know?
君のような子を
I know other
他に
children
も知ってい
like
る
you.
から
She put her hand above her head and summoned the D-sword. She pointed the blade at him.
この剣が見えるの?
Can you see this sword?
見えないよ
I can't.
じゃあ
Then,
どうしてわかるの?
how do you know?
おじさんが悪い人だからだ
Because I'm a bad man.
すまない
I'm sorry.
どうして謝るの?
Why are you apologizing?
おじさんの
It's my fault.
どうして
Why is it
おじさんの
your
せいなの?
fault?
忠告しかできない
Because all I can do is warn others.
動き出してしまった
Because it's started.
も
Because
う おじさんには止める
There's
術が
nothing
な
I
い
can do
か
to stop
ら。
it.
じゃあおじさんを殺せばコズピーは悪くなくなるの？
So if Kozupii kills you, does that mean she won't be bad
そ
anymore?
の剣は
That sword
君を
can
殺す
kill you,
者にも
and it can
守る
protect you.
も思い出してごらん。
Try to remember,
空を見れば
when you look up
雲
at the sky, you see the clouds.
川を見れば
When you look at the
流れ
river, you see the flow of the water.
そこにあったはず。
They're always there.
それと同じ
This
こ
is
と。
the same.
その剣は
The sword
いつも君
was
のそばに
always
あっ
with you.
た。自分自身の心を
Look
見てごらん。
Look into your heart.
そこにあるのが
The sword
その剣なんだ。
is what you'll find there.
でも
But
殺したいって願ったらこれが手
it
元
came
に
to
あ
me
っ
when
た
I
の。
wished to kill.
この剣は
Isn't this
コ
sword
ズピーと
supposed to
コズピー
kill
の周
me
囲にある
and all
あ
the
らゆ
people
るものを
around
殺
me?
すためのものじゃないの？
So the sword was having when you were having certain thoughts about yourself and others.
負の感情は
It's wrong to
否
deny
定
your
される
negative
ものじゃ
feelings.
ない。人が誰しも持つ
Every
もの
person has them. Yeah, that's the thing. End of the day is it doesn't make you a bad person to have such feelings as that. It's what you do in response to those feelings that matters.
特別じゃないんだ。
You're not special.
どう向き合う
It's
か
how you choose
だよ。
to face them.
目をそらしてはいけない。
You can't look away.
自分を否定
You
してはい
can't
け
deny
ない。
who you are.
世界を
The world is a reflection in the mirror.
君の心の中にある性は
What's positive in your heart
同時に不と
may
な
also
り
be
うるし
negative,
その逆もまた
and the opposite is true too.
世界が終わるのか
Whether
生き続けるの
the
か
world ends or continues to live on,
君たちだけなん
it's
だ。
up to you children to decide. In the end, she hadn't killed the man. The desire to do so receded as they spoke. She didn't understand what the man was trying to say, but she thought and thought as hard as she could and finally reached a conclusion. The sword was her. Bankai is a Zanbakuto spirit sword. She'd looked at it without denying it, and it had saved her. That's why she'd come to depend on it. It's her own pure-hearted way. Something in Kozupi's story made me curious. Who was that man? A homeless man with a big sign. It felt like I'd seen him a few times before, too. Were they the same person? What I couldn't figure out is how that guy would know about D-swords. Maybe the D-swords are famous in Japan and I just didn't know it? No, there was no way. I looked over at Kozupii. Her expression was so calm and peaceful. It was hard to believe she'd been talking about killing people a moment ago. She ran her fingers softly along the surface of the D-sword.
そういえば
Actually,
あのおじさん
he'd said something
こんな
else
こと言って
just
た
before
な
I
ら
left.
君たちは特別
You're
な存在
all
だ
special.
中でも一番
But
特
the
別なの
most
は
special of you all
その目
is the
誰の
boy
目を
who coined
見
the
落とした
phrase,
少年
whose eyes are
らしいん
those.
だって
That's what he'd said. I was stunned. What did that mean?
西条くん心当たりあるの
Nishijo? Do you know what he meant? You're all special, but the most special of you all is the boy who coined the phrase, whose eyes are those? That's what he'd said. I was stunned. Huh, Nisho? Do you know what he meant?
いや、別
No?
に。
嘘ら
You're lying.
心は正直
Your
なんだよ
mind's telling the truth.
西条くんは今
Just now you were thinking that you knew exactly what he meant.
って考えてる
That's not fair! Crap, it's hard when somebody knows your every thought.
なんか怖い
Your face
顔にな
looks
ってる
really scary. I have no idea what my face is making.
その目誰の目って西条くんが最初に考えたの
Were you the one who first thought up whose eyes are those? Yes. I bit my lip and stood up. I pulled out the tissues. I stuffed my nose. The blood had stopped. Kozupii was looking up at me confused.
どこへ
Where are you going? I'm going home. My side still hurt, but I walked down the stairs instead of using the escalator or the elevator.
That way I was able to avoid the crowds on the way out. Kozupii followed me hesitantly at a distance, looking like she was about to cry. Are you worried that you offended me? I mean, I probably just got too emotional and had to leave.
コズピー、何か怒らせるようなこと言ったかな。
Okay, so I was actually right on that. You are worried that you said something. I don't think I'm angry. It's more like I'm emotionally overwhelmed by what you said because, the fact that that dude was talking about me. So it's not that I'm angry. It's like, did Kozupii say something to make you angry? No, it's not that I'm angry or even angry at you or even angry at all. It's that I'm having a panic attack. So I'd rather go back to my house and sit in the corner and cry while looking at half-naked anime figurines in the privacy of my home than have the panic attack in front of you. Okay, we should end the video. Hope everyone had a good day. Bye.